Hey guys. Did you just find him like this? Okay. Hey bud. Hey, wake up. Go and sit up for me. It's the police. Some people found you. They were worried about you. Looks like you fell down and hit your head. Hey, wake up. Hi, sit up. Go and sit up for me. Yeah. Well, now you can send the medic in. He's semi-conscious. Just gonna grab some gloves. This is probably the fifth. This is probably the fifth something similar to this I've had today. I think there's a really strong batch going around. He's not overdosing hard, but he's overdosing. Last one I had, I thought was dead for sure, but he perked right up. That's the reason he's bleeding, because he passed out and hit his head. Hi. Hey, what do you have in the back pocket here? You have another knife back there? I'm gonna just take it out of your pocket, okay? What is that? Oh, it's like a vape. How you doing, man? You've had better days. You fell and hit your head, okay? Take some Fetty recently? No, sir. No? Well, you're acting like it. Try to perk up. There's an ambulance going to come look at you, okay? Do you have any other weapons or anything on you? Okay. There's an ambulance coming. I'm just going to leave him. I don't want to get him up. All right. Get that bowl out of your pocket for me, okay? You got a bulb in there. I'm going to take it. I'm not going to charge you with it. I'm just going to take it, all right? What's your name? Jason? All right. What's your last name? Okay. Thanks. Do you have any ID or anything on you? Okay. Do you have any more of this stuff on you? Okay. Where do you stay? Okay, where do you normally kick it at? Right here? In this area here? You're not in your pocket. You're missing your pocket there, bud. Almost. A little higher. There you go. He's awake now. Jason. What's your birthday, Jason? Thank you. What is it? Okay. I'll go run him. I don't think you just fell. I think you got to have been running. You got some pretty hefty scratches on your side. That doesn't look like gravel marks either. Might have fallen a couple times. Yeah. Some out-of-county traffic stuff, that's it. Oh, do you want to go to the hospital?
Yeah, I checked over by the UDF, that's all.
Where are you going to go?
Check Hall Road.
Are you able to stand up, Jason? Let's give it a shot. Grab your lighter, your hat, your RC Cola. You sure you're gonna be all right?
Alrighty. How's everybody doing? I brought Lenny in early. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man? I wasn't ready for that.
I wasn't either. I didn't know what I was doing. I really do. I can pretend you're not here.
Nah, it's fine, man. I mean, I know everybody likes looking at you more than they like looking at me, but whatever.
I don't know about tonight. I am tired today. I don't know what it is. It's like I had to work a full week, which is unusual for me lately. And it was exhausting. But I'm here.
I would thank you for your service, but we all see that coming a mile away. So I wouldn't want to do that.
Oh, Lordy. And tonight, a lot of time, like when we do the Thursday night streams, a lot of times I take Thursday off so I can get a bunch of crap done during the day, get my workouts in, and then be ready. Today I worked, so I came home, had a sandwich, got a workout, and it was just like bam, 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 like one thing after another, and here I am. So I'm still sweating a little bit. I took a cold shower. I have to do that when I'm going to be seeing you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I don't even know how to respond to that. Yeah, very immature of you.
Just accept it. I mean, that's the service that you provide to me. You keep me nice and warm and loose.
Moist.
Yes.
Moist.
Donut has nothing on Ben. Well, he definitely doesn't have experience on me, that's for sure.
Classic. You won't catch me talking shit about Donut. He's been good to me, but that was funny.
No, you know what? He's been really good to me too. He's when my channel had probably 20,000 subscribers, he played, I don't know if you know this video, the Sidewalk video, where I'll pull it up. Officers were, what were they doing? They were on scene of a call about this. Basically, this one was deaf and high or drunk. And this was like right after the riots. So she's black. And these two officers show up. They're talking to her. As
I'm sure
it would,
I could have told by watching the video, but go on.
Listen, well, I want to, because I'm going to skip ahead in the video. But as it would happen, one of the officers that shows up knows fucking sign language. Like, what are the fucking odds that a police officer shows up where there's a deaf woman who's drunk and high, and one of the officers actually knows sign language? And then this asshole comes up and starts yelling at him for like harassing her and all this other stuff. Oh, it's funny. Here, let me pull it up. I think everyone in the chat probably knows that video. I don't know how to find it. Give me 1 second. Entertain the people.
Entertain the people.
Yeah.
You guys want to hear a joke?
I want to hear a joke.
Nope, can't tell that one. What's brown and sticky? A stick. That's why I couldn't open up for a comedian or anything like that. You know what we haven't talked about before?
What?
Yingling. You have Yingling in the state you reside, correct?
I do.
Do you like it?
I think it's fine. It was like amazing when I couldn't get it. And now that I can get it anytime, I'm just like, meh. And I'm not much of a beer drinking anymore.
Oh, well, it's amazing. Man, should I take the mustache off? How much are we going to charge for that?
I don't know. $500?
How much different do you think I actually look, though, is the question.
If you take the mustache off, put on like a princess filter instead.
Oh, I could do that. Yeah. All right, let me see what I can do here.
The reason I brought up this the deaf woman story is because Donna actually shared this video on one of his streams when I had like 20,000 subscribers, and it gave me a massive bump. So that's what I was getting at. I'm not going to talk shit about Donna. I'll make fun of him. I'll pick on him because he would do the same to us.
Oh, that didn't really work out too well.
Oh, let me make you bigger.
Oh, look at that. Don't I look pretty?
That's not the right kind of princess.
Well, beggars can't be choosers.
Della,
That was for you, Bronx 47.
yeah, Bronx. What if if you listened to your Jersey podcast the other day?
I wonder
What
if
he
he
thinks about
listened to
that.
the New York podcast.
Which one?
I just did a New York one. Bing Bong.
I did listen to that. Did I
Yeah.
listen to the whole thing?
I don't
Sometimes my Spotify gets goofy, and if I lose my spot in one, I just go to the next one. That might have happened.
You might have missed something gold.
I probably did. My favorite podcast that you did recently was Jim Tan. That was the Jersey one, right?
Yeah, he's good. He did really good.
That was just like solid. I enjoyed that a lot. But I wanted to say, Della, that I put on this shirt tonight, and I knew I was going to get comments on it. And I was going to tell you guys the way I pick my shirts. It's twofold. It's one, it's the message on it, but two, whether it fits right or not. And sometimes the shirts I like the message don't fit right anymore. This one is on the verge. So I don't know. I wear it too much. Because, like, do you do the same thing? I have like 4 or 5 shirts that I wear. They're on top.
Basically. Yeah.
And I don't go underneath them. So
I have a t-shirt problem. If I see something funny, I'll order it. And my drawer is filled with t-shirts, and I probably only wear 5 of them.
yeah, I'm the same way. Flat out, like McRae, Lloyd is white, and he is ashamed.
Hold on a second. I got my ancestry back. I am 0.100% Cuban native or something. So I'm basically Elizabeth Warren. Warren?
if you're familiar with a guy named wow, I just lost his name. The guy that killed the kid down in Florida. What was his name? The Block Watch guy.
Oh shoot, that's gonna drive me nuts now. I can't think of his name. You guys in the chat know this dude's name.
Yeah, but he was Cuban, and the media said he was a white guy.
Zimmerman. George
Zimmerman. Yeah. So if George Zimmerman is white, then your 1% Cuban ancestry is also white.
Perfect.
Gotta say. Well, we both clicked at the same time. Bronx, thank you very much for starting everything off. Let's see.
Bing Bong. Thanks for your service.
Yes, sir. Blue Bear. These are the ones I really appreciate, these comments and messages that I get from people. As a law enforcement officer, you look forward to our streams and everything. I think Lenny and I, or Lloyd, what's your name? Lloyd?
Dude, call me whatever you want.
All right. Whatever I want. We both sincerely appreciate those kind of comments from people, because it means that we're not fake. But anyway, back to this video. It's right here. So this was one of the first videos that Donut shared of me, and it made my helped me take off. Did you watch my videos back in the day when I used this cartoon avatar?
I did not. Well, you know what? Yes, I remember that. I do remember that cartoon avatar, and I remember thinking, okay.
It was like cringy. I actually, this was my attempt to hide my face, and I thought it was better than just being like behind the scenes.
Better than a mask?
Yes, better than a mask. And it was before I knew about the Snapchat filters, but I didn't have the technology back then. I just used a webcam for this, but and I used a different microphone, so the audio was kind of cringy. Interaction, a little bit of the interaction with the medics when they arrived, and then I'm going to show the part where the male comes up and starts harassing the officers. Just so that you can have the background. The other part is that was when I was working third shift, and I'd edit videos on my days off. So I would be down here until like 5 a.m. editing videos. I was exhausted, and I sound exhausted in the video. So let's see. Where was the Sidewalk guy?
The medic. Right. No.
Oh, you know what? It was in the other video. I'll find it while you watch this.
I only know that. Okay.
So here's the officers that are
right,
literally speaking sign language, and then some asshole comes up, and I made
Can I
it
see a ledger, Joe?
part 2.
I think she wants to ride home. Okay.
Like, can you imagine how stupid the Black Lives Matter guy looks? when he starts calling the officer who's speaking sign language, starts calling him a racist and harassing him for trying to help this woman.
It's hard.
Okay.
It's hard sometimes, you know, because you just see oppression everywhere.
Okay.
I wonder if that video got taken down.
Okay. Hey, hold on.
It should have been my
Right here.
one of my more highly watched.
Hey.
I don't see it.
I don't know if she's under the influence, but she's deaf. I only know this because my daughter. I sit in on my daughter's classes. Just a little bit. I don't know.
That's unfortunate. Where'd it go? I think YouTube yeeted my video off the internet.
Well, that's fake news.
Okay.
I know. I'm gonna have to find it. Well, that was a.
No, keep them coming. It still might be a drug. Yeah. No. Okay.
That was a tease. He comes at the end and starts yelling at him, but you don't get to see the arrest.
No. And I asked you. Okay.
Yeah, nigga, I'm not homeless.
Right here.
But,
Yep.
called him walkie.
Can I help you?
Yeah, nigga, I'm not homeless. I'm actually stupid dumb rich. I'm just making sure y'all taking care of the people y'all supposed to be taking care of.
Right.
I didn't disrespect
Listen, I get that you're trying to make a scene for your friend, but we're trying to help somebody. Ma'am.
That's why I stayed back here.
Right.
I wasn't in your way. Pay attention to them.
I have nothing to say to you.
The first thing you see is you see somebody helpless with the cops. So
He's just trying to troll us. We're trying to help somebody.
I'm trying to troll you. Let me pull out the camera
Okay.
and really troll you.
Okay. We're already recording. The cameras are on.
Y'all got body cams?
Absolutely.
You got body cams?
Yeah, that sucks. I'm gonna have to find the original footage and re-upload that, because then they end up telling him like to give them space.
That does look familiar now. That part.
Yeah, they told him to like give him space, and then he went and stood in the middle of the road, and they're like, "You got to get out of the road." And he's like, "Screw you! I'm not getting out of the road." They told him he's gonna be arrested, so they arrest him, and then he just starts screaming "Sidewalk" for like the next 20 minutes. He's like, "Sidewalk!" Yeah, and Donut shared that video, and it is what it is. Blue Bear, what is the name of your channel? Is it just Blue Bear 1? We will look into that later. But thanks for letting me know. I'll I don't know anything about you, but I'll go ahead and give you
He appears to be a blue bear.
out. Yeah. I don't know. I'll look into that.
The elusive blue bear. Very rare.
There's a blue bear in Denver, right? Is it still there?
There is a blue bear. Have you been to Denver?
I have. I lived there for a couple months.
Really?
Yeah.
How have we never talked about this? No,
I don't want to just be like, oh, I know something about Colorado, like kind of douchey. But yeah, I was I had a job as a financial analyst for a couple of years, and the company was based out in Denver, so they flew me out for a few months. I lived there in like a hotel thing, trained at the yeah. It was super exciting. Yeah. I'm trying to find the chat where there it is. Brent's coming in strong. Blue Bear, send me an email. It's on the channel. You should know how to do that. Yeah, Brent, always here. Appreciate you, bud. Somebody sent me a super chat on a video the other day. It was Grumpy. I don't know if he's here today, but I wanted to say thank you for that as well. Even though I didn't get a chance to see how much it was. Yeah, I'm all over the place tonight. You got to help me out.
You know, we did promise the people to talk about a shit show in Cleveland. We left on a cliffhanger last week.
We did. Let me see. It was about 18 minutes. I'm trying to keep up with the chat a little bit too.
Well,
let me go to my email and I'll start pulling that stuff up.
So, Cowboy Cop, I have somebody on my list from Vegas. I'm working through the list. It's very disorganized and it's poorly made, but I do hope to have a Vegas cop soon.
So when we do the Cleveland thing, my thoughts were I would read the article and kind of set it up, and then we could watch the video. How does that sound?
I'm here for you, buddy.
All right. Well,
I believe in you.
This is the most disorganized we've been.
You've been.
Don't
fucking drag me down.
I'm tired.
Here. I have beer. I'm fine.
Oh.
This is all on you.
So
No pressure.
my brain is fried right now. Partially, I recorded a video on the way home from work tonight about it, so I'm not going to kind of spoil the whole thing, even though I don't know if I'll post the video. I record a lot that I don't post. But I was dealing with a civil matter that turned into a criminal matter for 3 or 4 hours yesterday, and then a solid 3 or 4 hours today. Like yesterday it was civil. We gave him his warning. It turned criminal. Today he got arrested. Yeah, I sent you a little video. He was screaming in the backseat of my car for like 2 hours. It literally exhausted me to the point that I had officers call me tonight after I got home, still ask me about it. It was exhausting. My brain is fried.
I hate those calls. They destroy your soul.
And it wasn't even anything. It was just trespassing. It wasn't like a crazy shooting or a dead kid or something. It was just an idiot just wearing me out. Let's see. We're going to do the article first. How's that sound? Are you guys familiar with, I don't think this story really got around because you weren't really familiar with it, right?
No, I never saw it until you told me about it.
Yeah. When did this happen? This article is in July 18th, 2022. It's out of Cleveland, Ohio. It says a Cleveland police officer claimed another officer panicked and blindly shot her when they were confronted by a man in a boarding house bathroom with a gun, according to a federal lawsuit. Jennifer Killnap's lawsuit filed last week said that her rookie partner, July of 2020, so this is 2 years ago. This should have been in the news. Her partner, Bailey Gannon, who was a male, fled down the stairs after opening a second-story bathroom without a warning where a man stood holding a handgun. I don't think I need to read this whole thing. Basically, he got scared, ran, and started firing a gun over his shoulder. He struck his partner, and the moral of the story, where is it at down here? The female partner that got hit, she was suspended in March 2021 for failing to turn on her body camera that night. So they responded to a call about a man hiding in the house with a gun. She got shot, and she was suspended because she didn't turn her body camera on in time. And then it turned out later that it was her partner that shot her. The department apparently knew that it was her partner that shot her, but they withheld that information for a long period of time. And the guy that shot her was never disciplined out of it. That's kind of the beginning of it. Does that sum it up for you?
Yeah, basically.
All right. Then we'll go to the video. Do you have anything that you would like to say before we start the video?
Oh, I think the video speaks for itself.
This is so bad.
There's so many layers of terribleness on this call.
Should we play the whole video first?
Yeah, let's play the
Or do you
whole
wanna
thing, and then we
pause it?
can break it down, and we can look at things if we need to.
Alrighty. So we are going to, I'm going to get out of the way. How do I do that? Right here.
You are falling apart.
I am. I haven't started drinking alcohol yet either.
Pitter patter.
This video is only 2 minutes and 35 seconds. I think it explains it pretty well, but I think they were responding to some kind of domestic violence call. And it turns out, I don't know, you'll see. There's a woman screaming that there's a guy in the house with a gun. First minute or so, there's no audio due to the look back period on the body camera. Why is the audio not working? Do you guys not have audio?
I don't think it even comes on yet.
No, I think it did. They're supposed to be when they were outside. What in the world? Oh,
You suck.
I'm such a professional. We're gonna skip ahead.
I'm helping.
Yeah, it should be about a minute. Okay, 30 seconds.
They're here.
What number did you say he's in?
4. My door's open.
He's got a gun?
4. He's got a gun.
All right, right
He's got
away.
a gun. He's got a gun. He's in here. They're here. They're here.
Who are you talking to?
The police.
Oh, okay. Okay.
4. 3. Come on. He's upstairs. They're here. Moose? Moose?
What's that?
The bathroom's behind us. They're going to the bathroom door. Right here, right here. Look back.
Get back! Get back! Get back! Hurry! Help! Help! Stop fire! Hey, get in the car! Kill that! Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired! I repeat, we have shots fired! Kill them! Kill them! Kill them! Let's go! We have shots fired. We're at 2023 East 81st.
Right now.
We need 911 right now. Kill them! Get in the car and take you to the hospital.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh boy is right.
Oh, I don't think I ever listened to the whole thing where he was like, "We need 911 right now." Did you catch that?
Oh, I heard it. And help.
Oh,
I think we need to take this from the start and work our way to the end, or we could go backwards. It's up to you.
no, I'm with you. Oh my God.
This is obviously hindsight, right? I want to always throw out the disclaimer. Like, I don't know everything that happened, but this is not good.
No, and there's some obvious from the beginning things that I was trained not to do or that we don't do in my department.
Well, so here's the first thing that I'm super curious about. They're just kind of wandering up there without a plan or really even talking to this lady. My assumption, because of the body cameras not being on, that is they probably just got there. Are we not doing a preliminary investigation? Are we going to not see what we have before we confront the guy with a gun? Are we not going to get on the radio and say, hey, she's saying he's armed, maybe start another car? I don't know.
Yeah.
That was the initial thing I got from it.
Because, you know, you get calls all the time, and the calls might say one thing, but that doesn't mean that you're going to do what the call said. You know, you arrive on scene, you have your victim, you talk to them, and you figure out what actually happened. Because just saying, look, there's a guy inside in a bathroom and he's got a gun. Okay. Like, why do I need to go get him? And if I go get him, what am I going to do? That's just something that a lot of people don't get. Especially a lot of new people, a lot of newer, younger people, they get in that, like, where they want to chase the bad guy, but then you don't know necessarily why they're chasing the bad guy. I had one a few years ago that I always use as an example, where we were sent on a gun run. Some people in this house were saying, you know, they described this guy and his car, showed up with a gun, was threatening to shoot him, this, that, and the other thing, took off. So the helicopter was not right overhead, but he was pretty close by in the area. and picked up a car similar to the one that was described leaving the area, and they decided to start following it. I drove to the house of the caller. The helicopter and basically everybody else on the zone was trying to catch up to this car that the helicopter was calling out. And they ended up catching up to it on the freeway, did a felony stop on the freeway. And I was at the house. I couldn't get the air to tell them what I had found. What I had found was I get to the house. I talked to some people. They called in and said that, Joshua was here with a gun threatening to kill everybody. That's what the 911 call said. When I got there, I was like, tell me what happened. And they're like, well, Josh was over here. His girlfriend lives here. We told him he had to go. He started throwing things and then he got in his car. And I'm like, where did this talk of a gun come from? And they're like, well, he always has a gun. I'm like, well, did you see a gun tonight? No. Did he threaten to shoot anybody? No. He was just angry and he was throwing things. But they called 911 and said, Josh has a gun. Here's his car. He's leaving right now. The helicopter directed patrol units into a vehicle. They did a felony stop on the freeway. They had to stop 4 lanes of Interstate 71 traffic. They did a felony stop on a mom and her 2 toddlers. It wasn't the car. And it wouldn't have been done if somebody had stopped for a second and talked to the caller. You know what I mean? Not the same situation, but still know what you're looking for, right? And then when you get to what you were saying, okay, let's say it's a DV. Let's say she's got marks on her. It's obvious. You know that you got a guy in the house that's going to be arrested for domestic violence. You get the information. Okay, where is he? What is he doing? And then you're like, okay, he's hiding in a bathroom upstairs with a gun. What would your thought process be if that was the case?
I would probably slow down a little bit.
Yeah, maybe
Slow
tell somebody
down.
that you're there. And where I work, 100%, that's a SWAT call out.
Oh
Like,
yeah, where I
we're
work,
not.
probably yeah.
Yeah, we're not sending patrol in there. There's a reason that they have shields and extra body armor and helmets and cameras and negotiators and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's not a patrol function. Yeah. Right. Oh, why isn't it? Oh, because we both clicked on it.
We got to work on that.
Oh, that one. Yeah. Boss Hog says code 2. Code 2 where I work means it's just a verbal, no paper needed. Like, peace out. Yeah. So
I mean, you don't want to press charges, right? Okay, cool. We'll be out.
yeah, well, sometimes there's an element to that. If it's not domestic violence, if it's just dude had a gun and threatened me and there's no DV relationship and you don't want to file charges and he's up in the house, peace, right?
Yeah.
There's no reason to do that. No reason to go up. Risk
By the
getting
way,
yourself
can I go
shot.
on a real quick side quest on that?
Please.
The not wanting to press charges. Very frequently, you will see like, oh, there were warning signs, and we called the police all the time, and they never did anything. This is why. It's because people say, well, I don't want to press charges, or I don't want him to go to jail. I don't want to do this or that. Guess what? The cops can't do anything without a victim, without a witness. That's part of the whole thing. I know I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but it's a thing.
Yeah. Well, and the same thing goes for people who call in and just refuse their information.
You're not helping.
Yeah, because the way the courts have ruled, we can't act on. There's only so much we can do with refused caller information. Like, we can't stop somebody and search them if you're not going to leave your name and phone number. So we have a whole neighborhood where I work where they call in so much stuff, but they always refuse their information. I can't stop and detain somebody if you don't leave your name and information. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to risk a civil rights lawsuit for that. So you're wasting everybody's time by doing that kind of stuff. But back on topic. So at a bare minimum, right, you air for another car and you say, you get on the air and you're like, hey, we got a guy. He's going to be, we call it code 3. He's going to be a code 3 for domestic violence. He's supposed to be upstairs hiding in a bathroom. I need a couple more cars. We're going to surround the house and just stand outside and wait for a little bit until more cars get there and then come up with a plan, right? And nine times out of 10 for us, it's going to be SWAT.
And we're talking about Cleveland here, a big city. I got to assume they have more cops on. Maybe that's, a dangerous assumption. You may work in a rural area where it's you and Jim Bob, and that's it. Well, that's something different. But for this particular set of circumstances, you have
Cleveland, they have 1,300 officers, I believe. I was talking to a Cleveland officer the other day. So they have plenty of officers. Let's move on. So we'll listen to her here. I think she talks.
Make sure you have the volume up.
I do. Any second now. It is unfortunate they didn't turn their cameras on when they got out of the car.
Get him on.
See, I can't tell who's talking.
What number did you say?
Four.
Or
Everybody do it.
the cop. The other cop.
It was her down here.
Okay.
Doors open.
He's got a gun?
Four. He's got a gun. He's got a gun. He's got a gun. He's
So-
get here, get here.
They do a 30-second preliminary investigation and walk in.
Yeah. And
Talking to?
and then the way they do it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Four. Three. Come on. He's upstairs.
So this is the girl that gets shot.
Get here.
And this is the Probie's camera that we're watching. I mean, it's hard to tell from body camera, but he's checking stuff.
Moose?
Here, pause it for a second.
Yeah.
My thought, and I was going to bounce this off of you. If you make the decision, all right, we're going to go in and contact this dude, think he might be armed, you're not exactly sure where he's at. Again, the slow down thing. But what are your thoughts on giving orders or making announcements? I would lean towards yes.
That was exactly what I was thinking about. If he's up, like we're told that he's upstairs in a bathroom. And this is what I do every time I come into the house anyway. I open the door, I'll stomp if I haven't already beaten on the door like super loud. But I come in and I have a relatively loud voice. It's the police, is anybody inside? If you're inside, make yourself known. If I'm looking for somebody in particular, I think they were calling him Moose, if I'm not mistaken. I'm calling his name. I'm like, Moose, where you at? Like, Moose, I need to talk to you. It's the police. Need you to come downstairs. We need to talk. That kind of stuff. Like, very loud.
It is a little different with him being armed, though, because you would presume he knows the house better, and he may have the jump on you. I was kind of thinking about that a little bit, too. But when you go in there searching blind, he's still going to have the jump on you, too.
Yeah.
I think that's where you take a safe tactical position, but...
Yeah. I mean, exactly. Like, you can... She was pretty confident that he was up... First of all, where I work, we're not going to go in. So we're talking about a little bit of like uncharted territory as far as I'm concerned, because the right call is to not go in the house. The right call is to surround the house, especially if you can confirm that he's inside.
Order him out of the house.
Yeah. We try to do as much from outside the house as possible. I can't remember if the front door was already open when they got there so they can like see in. If you want to take that space, hold the door open, get some cover on the outsides of the door. Start calling into the house that way.
Was this like an apartment building though? Because I think
they said it was a boarding house.
A boarding house, yeah. So there's probably different tenants in different rooms.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Cleveland might be old timey, where they have like bedrooms with hallways with communal bathrooms in the hallway. I don't know, but I guess another thing that, let's say we're very confident that he's upstairs in a bathroom, and that's where he's hiding. You can clear that first floor, and have someone, post it up on the stairwell, calling his name while you have a couple other officers clear that first floor. But again, you're not going to do it with just two of you. There's literally so many stupid things that they did. It's terrifying. And like
this is a good point, by the way, the cover officer put is that you have a cell phone.
Yeah.
Excellent point.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the reasons that you slow it down and that you get SWAT there. Like, they have negotiators that are going to make those calls a lot of time. I mean, we do on patrol sometimes, but I don't know. These guys obviously aren't thinking about anything. They're very ill prepared for what they're going to do. But it's like the female officer suing, making all these allegations about the probationary officer. She was no all-star in this either. So like, she should have also, if she's senior, should have said, hey man, we're not going in. Like, we need to hold up. We need to do this. She's not doing her job either. So
William made a good point too, is do they teach people how to walk up the stairs? When I went almost 10 years ago now, we never had any talk about how to step up the stairs. So I would assume no.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about being quiet. I mean, we're announcing, we're being loud, so like they're gonna know you're coming up the stairs. That's kind of a decision to make depending on the situation you're in. I'm not gonna necessarily sneak through a house. I kind of want them, but also I'll reiterate, if there's a guy in a house hiding with a gun, I'm not going in after him.
Well,
you don't do it.
Well, and here's the thing too, is speaking specifically to the sneaking around part, there is a time and place for being sneaky and tactical and stuff, but how many of these shootings have we had where officers were accused of not announcing themselves?
Mm-hmm.
How does this guy know it's the cops in his house? If it's a house, they made no announcements that we heard. So how does he know they're not burglars? He doesn't know it's the police there. So that's an element to the job, is people need to know the police are in their house.
Yeah, and building searches and stuff are a major part of training. I don't know if you guys stress that as much where you came from.
Oh yeah, tons.
But when you're on coaching or FTO phase, the building searches and traffic stops are probably the two most hit upon topics, because they're both very, very dangerous. And these two officers are going to show you exactly why. So, but they just kind of walked up the stairs willy-nilly. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Real quick, I want to address Spencer. I know I saw a question earlier. You were asking about if the state can press charges. They can, depending on what it is. Most states, it's like DV and stuff like that. But persons crimes or crimes where that you actually have a victim that's an actual person, theft or whatever, then usually you would want a victim. There are circumstances where you can move forward if you have PC, but it's very difficult to have PC without a cooperative victim or witness.
And there's certain things that are legal, and then there's certain things that your prosecutor will accept. Yep. So, like, just because the law says something doesn't mean that your court is going to do that. I'm trying to think. Well, like, felonious assault is one in my jurisdiction where we will literally, felonious assault is cause or attempt to cause serious physical harm to another person. Serious physical harm is defined as like permanent disfigurement, and it's further defined like with broken bones, things like that. Stitches is permanent disfigurement. A broken bone is a permanent disfigurement. In my jurisdiction, there's a rumor that there's a number of stitches that are required. So when you call a detective and you're like, yeah, this chick got split open, and it wasn't a deadly weapon. I don't know, because if you use a knife to attack somebody, it's a deadly weapon. If you use a baseball bat, it's hit or miss. But they'll ask like how many stitches, or broken bones. Okay, broken nose. Did they break the orbital or just the nose? Okay, broken nose, yeah, that's not a felony. Like we get that all the time, where per the legal system, yeah, that's a felony, but it's not where I live. And I was trying to think. I did the broken bones, stitches. There was another one I can't quite remember, but yeah, it's not always the case. So, all right, moving on. It happens fast after this, I think.
It does.
What's that?
Do you want to talk about the search at all? The building search?
It's just, it's not complete or good. They're just kind of
like we do this multiple times a day. Like my buddies and I searched a vacant tonight that I remembered thinking as we were going through it, I'm like, man, we do this so much. That was so smooth. We had 4 officers. There was a board pried away off of a side window, and then the homeowner arrived, removed the front door for us so we could just go in through the front door because our fat asses weren't going to get in through that window. And like I was the first one in. I walked in and announced there's a hallway to the front with multiple rooms off to the left-hand side, and there was a large great room on the right that went into like a kitchen area. I knocked and announced. I went in. I just went straight. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw my buddy go to the right. And then as I went into the first room on the left, my next buddy went past me and went into the next room. And it was just like boom, 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 boom. You know, as we're coming out in the hall, they're like, hey, coming out. And then we checked this whole side of the house all the way to the back bathroom. And we were working our way back. And there's my other buddy standing at the basement stairs with his gun pointing down the stairs. And he's like, hey, there's a basement. I got to check it. I came into the kitchen, took his spot. He went down the basement, came up. It's just like boom, 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 boom. You don't leave, you don't walk past an unsearched area when you're looking for somebody. That
Yep.
Maybe
armed.
What's that?
That may be armed. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just crazy.
They're going to sit in the bathroom door. Right here, right here.
Okay, so I have some, and again, we're like playing this super slow speed. He opens the door, sees the dude,
Yeah.
and immediately turns. I don't know if you know this, but did the bad guy actually fire a round?
I don't know if they confirmed it or not. I know they initially charged him with attempted murder. But I don't know right here at this point if he fired a round or not. It was hard for me to see.
Yeah, I don't think you could hear it. And if he did, because there's like the wind noise of him turning and going kind of thing.
Yeah. I wanted to, this is a distraction, but with this question, I do like covering that kind of stuff occasionally, and we might cover it on like a live stream. It kind of just depends on whatever we're interested in, because if we're not super into it, we can't talk about it. I don't know. Does that make sense? But like
is that the college students that were murdered?
Yeah.
I've just seen the headlines. I don't really know a whole lot about it. And I don't,
Yeah.
I was a patrol officer. I don't really have an investigative thing. And I don't know. I hate when people get on and speculate about everything.
Yeah. Well, and there's also,
there's
there's so much behind the scenes stuff and speculation that, yeah, maybe that's not our ball. Maybe that's not our thing. We'll stick to the tactical stuff, even though we're neither one of us are tactical Timmies.
No tactics here, sir.
No, we're not tactical Timmies. I don't know. We'll do what we do.
We'll do what we do.
Yeah, but if there's a major story like this, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I should have downloaded this and put it in my editing software where I can slow it down. But he's right here, and one of the articles that I saw, you could see he was holding a gun. But yeah, this guy. Oh, and I forgot to say, Tiger Lily, thank you very much. I highlighted it, but I didn't say anything. Thoughts on the Texas v. Aaron Dean trial? Again, I have no idea. Do you know anything about that?
No.
Maybe after this we'll try to look it up, but who knows? We might forget. But yeah, so you open a door, there's a guy in there. That's like your worst nightmare, right? Well,
I remember moving. I knew I had a good feeling this guy was in a house. I was looking for him just on a warrant, and we're going through searching it. And I moved a curtain of a bathtub. I didn't think he was going to be there. I thought he was going to be beyond it, and he was in there. And I remember jumping a little bit, like, "Oh shit, there he is!" But I didn't, run away and shoot my partner. So
when I started doing the body camera channel, one of my buddies sent video of it was like cell phone recorded of his body camera. And he was like, I got to find the date, but this was hilarious. He did that. He opened up the shower curtain and there was a dude standing in there just hiding. He didn't have a gun or anything. And my buddy legitimately screamed like a woman. And then he got so mad. He had his gun out, he holstered his gun and then grabbed the guy, ripped him out of the tub. And the guy might have bumped his head a little bit. But by the time he got the information to me and I requested it, it was already deleted because there's like a 2-year retention period on that stuff. But yeah, I don't know that I've really been super duper startled by something like that. I'm probably the situations that I've had where my adrenaline was like through the roof. I mean, I've been clearing buildings where I can hear my heartbeat, you know, I'm like, God damn, like this is bad, you know, like if there's a dude in here, this is not going to be fun. You're super careful checking your corners and stuff. I never find anybody when I'm searching like that. The times where I find people, I'm so dumbfounded by the fact that I found them that I'm like relaxed about it. Like I had a guy, I might have told the story a couple weeks ago, but I was responding to an alarm on a vacant house. This was back when I first started. So like 2011, 2012, there was still copper in a lot of these old houses and people were breaking into them, stealing the copper. And I go to the back door, I check the front door secure, go to the back door, it's open like this much. So
like this much?
Yeah. That's our measuring system, right?
Yeah.
100%, babe. I promise.
That's big. Yeah.
So I see the door is like open and I push on it and the door doesn't open any more than I wanted it to. So I push on it a little bit harder and the door like goes and then springs back. I'm like, what in the hell? I'm thinking there's like a roll of carpet or something behind the door, right? Like it's a vacant house. Who knows what the hell's back there? So I turn and I'm by myself. I think I aired that I found an open door. We're supposed to wait for backup when we find an open door, but I didn't. I'm a new guy and I'm not always perfect even to this day. I put my shoulder in this door and I like slammed into it. And then I hear this voice go, hey, I'm right here. It was the suspect. He was trying to get out of the house when he saw me come to the front door, but I got to the back door first. So he's behind the door like this, and I'm smashing him with the door. I smashed him like 4 or 5 times. And then he was like, hey, I'm right here. And so I was just like really calm. I'm like, get out here, dumbass. And he comes out, I cuff him up. And then right inside the door was a duffel bag full of copper pipes. And then you go to the basement, there's water spraying everywhere. But yeah, I always have, those are my surprise people. It's just like so stupid.
Now that we're talking about this, and I think I told this on a podcast coming up, but I was clearing with one of my friends. It was the end of the night and it was one of those crazy shifts. I think we were even held over and we got a possible burden. We're clearing it. And not to go way far off track because we got to finish this video, but I recognized the floor plan before they did. And so I moved up and didn't tell them what I was doing. And the long story short is they'd basically taken out a wall so our room would be bigger, and they'd put a couch in front of a door. And I kind of figured this out, and I went around to get into the room, and my partner heard the movement in the room, didn't know it was the same room I was in, and we came up on each other, and it was could have been a little rough. But we didn't shoot each other and run away, so there's that.
No, you're like blue, blue, blue. Moreland mentioned, it said our policy was that you could draw your weapon when it was necessary, not necessarily. Oh, it didn't make sense to me at first. Draw your weapon when it's necessary, but not necessarily when it's just to fire. Yeah, we draw our weapons all the freaking time.
Well, I think somebody had asked, I glanced at it. I don't remember exactly what it was. I can see what it was, but they were asking about when officers can draw their weapons. Oh,
action beats reaction, and you want to be prepared if you're going to possibly run into someone that's armed.
Yeah.
Right? So burglaries, man with a gun, man with a knife, stuff like that. As soon as I get out of the car, my gun comes out of my holster. Checking alarms. Tiger Lily, I wrote down that case. I'm going to look it up, and I don't know. if it looks like something that we can cover and talk about, we will. So I wanted to.
So this was the original question. did they have their firearms drawn, and is there a policy? So generally clearing a building where you suspect somebody's going to be armed, or like you're looking for a burglar who potentially could be violent, you're going to have your gun out. I went to this. This is actually interesting to bring up. One of the last trainings I can remember going to, we were practicing clearing in an in-service, and the information we had is we're missing for a little girl. A lot of guys simulated clearing this warehouse with a gun out. And they didn't say it was right or wrong, but the instructors, well, think about, what are you searching for? You're not searching for a burglar. You're looking for a little girl. So what if you stumble upon this little girl or whatever? Do you want to be pointing the guns at a little girl? I think one could argue, well, was she kidnapped? But that you don't have that information. But I think sometimes people do, and that made a whole lot of sense to me. I'm like, that makes sense. I mean, we get so wrapped up into like doing things the way we were taught in the academy as far as building clearing, but
that was a training scenario.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. Part of it was just to work on building clearances, but they added that caveat in just to get people to kind of think about that a little bit. Generally, though, if you're searching somewhere and clearing a building, you're going to have your gun out like 99% of the time.
Yeah, unless you're looking for missing kids.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, too, that when you go to training, we joke about it, that when you go to defensive tactics training, just go in the room and shoot the guy every time, and that way you get they tell you you're done and you move on. Like, it's a joke, but it is like when you go to your defensive tactics, it seems like you're always like high press, high stress, whatever. I can't speak tonight. And you're looking for the bad guy. You're afraid someone's going to jump out and try to kill you at any point in time. So you're blasting people like crazy. And then at the end, they're like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have shot that guy. And that's the training value. But it's hard to simulate real life in training.
It is.
And that's one of the frustrating things that I get frustrated when people are like, oh, police officers need more training, blah, blah, blah. It's hard to train this job. It's hard to simulate what you do in real life. Like this situation. Now, this one, we can train this actually.
Yeah. Well, Martin had a really good question. So regarding the unsearched area, now if a door is locked, would you move on and have someone behind your back to cover to see if anybody comes out? That kind of depends on what you're doing. Like some of the more dynamic stuff, you're searching, you may move past it. In a situation like this, again, this one's kind of screwed up because we don't know all the ins and outs of exactly what they were doing. What I would probably do if I found a locked door I wouldn't even be in this situation. But let's say, because it's hard to explain for we're already past a point I wouldn't be at.
Yeah.
But when you're clearing a building, generally, you would move past the locked door because you don't have a way to get in. Depending on what it is, there's always a caveat what that is. But if you had the manpower, I would probably hold somebody on that door. But again, if it's just two cops clearing, you got a report of transients or something in a whatever, you're probably going to move past the locked door because you're not going to break down the door to get in there without knowing more.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point because, like I said earlier, we were searching a vacant house that got broken into. If we came across a door in there that was locked and it looked like it had dust on it or whatever, I'm not really going to think too much about it. I'm going to this door doesn't work, move on to the next one. I'm just looking for bodies in there, living bodies, hopefully. But this situation is just a bad one to use that example on because nothing they did was right. We at most in this situation, I would sit at the bottom of the steps. That's as far as I would go into that building.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think. I've never done it on someone that was known to have a firearm. I've done it on suicidal people before where, you go in the house, you talk to the family, yeah, he's upstairs in the bathroom saying he's going to kill himself. There's guns in the house. We don't know if he has one. That's a fairly common type of call. If I'm already in the house, I'm going to hold that staircase, take a position of cover, hold the staircase, get on my radio, and then everyone else that comes in is going to be talking to me. Like, hey, has he moved? Is he talking? Blah, blah, blah. And then eventually, if it turns into that, a SWAT guy might replace me, come in with a big barricade and set it down there. These all they're doing so much wrong that it's not fair to comment on whether or not you would do certain things. Yeah. In this situation, you're searching a guy that you have confirmed from witness that he has a gun. You're not going to pass any doors, locked or unlocked. You're just not. I don't know. That's it. So he opens the door, dude with a gun. It's terrifying. First of all, knock on the fucking door. I'm trying not to cuss in these things, and not just the door, but the wall next to it. I don't want to bang and spill my drinks, but I'm smacking walls and stuff. I'm like, hey, Moose, are you in here? Moose, it's the police. Like, make them know that you're there. They're sitting there with this plan in their head that there's an officer that's going to open the door. I'm going to kill him. Don't let them fulfill their plan. Make them change their plan. You set up with a tactical advantage and make them do something different. Because if you're outside the wall banging on it, telling them to come out, then you can get quiet and you can listen for a minute. He'll breathe. He'll shuffle his feet, do something. Then you confirm he's in there. Back off. Wait for him to come out.
Down.
Yeah. If he comes out, if that gun comes out first, you're blasting. Even then.
My thing is, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but my thing on this is they had information the guy had a gun in a bathroom. What did he think he was going to find? Yeah. I mean, did they think she was full of shit? I mean, because we do that as cops sometimes, right? Is whatever, she's full of shit. Maybe they contacted her before. So I want to give some, I don't want to say benefit of the doubt.
But these guys had no experience, so they can't be like, yeah, this girl calls all the time.
Fair enough. But I could see that happening. I'm just throwing it out there. If you go to a call, it's like a known DV. And again, that's dangerous, right? We shouldn't do that. You should treat them all the same way every single time. But we do get laxed, and we shouldn't. You might go, I've been here a million times. He's fine. I'm going to go in there and talk to him. Right? But that's not how the way they approach this call. Yeah. So
but you're still not going to go to the actual bathroom where the dude is. Right?
I'm trying to make sense of it, and I can't. Because I would say, again, it would be like, hey, Moose, come out and talk. She said you got a gun. Let's talk about this or whatever. Obviously, from a place of cover, you would do that, make sure it's all cool. But, again, there's no tactics or anything. They just went in blind.
The answer to that question, I'm pretty sure they both are. I know for a fact the dude who shot his partner is still with Cleveland Police Department. I think because I just spoke to someone from that department very recently. I think he left, he resigned, and then he came back. But he was still never disciplined for this. The female had pretty serious injuries. The round went through, I believe it went through her forearm and then into her rib cage and lodged somewhere in her back. I think she was hit 2 or 3 times. So she was still on the department last I heard, but she's not medically able to work. Let's see, it's not complaints here.
Once you get out of FTO, you're treated just like another cop. Yeah. In regards to Liam, if it's commonplace for inexperienced to be out. I personally, and again, this is fairy tale land, but I do think that junior cops should be with senior cops. I think FTO should be much longer than it is. But nobody puts in the time. I don't know. I mean, if I was the president of the world, I would do all these things. But that's just, you do your 6 months or whatever, and 4 months in FTO after the academy, you're just one of the guys. Now, hopefully, people take you under their wing and make sure you're not screwing up. But that doesn't always happen.
I forgot to bring a glass down for my whiskey, so I'm texting my wife. Let me finish because I can't talk and type. That was a point that I have as well. Because I'm on first shift now. Everybody has seniority. You just trust everybody that works with you. They all have 10, 15, 20, 25 years on. But when I was on nights, we always had a constant influx of new guys. New guys that are just off FTO and all that other stuff. They're on probation. We call them probies. when you got a Probie on your precinct and they get dispatched on a call, you try to go to that call for the most part, especially if it's like an important call. If it's like a gun run or something really serious, pretty much everyone on the precinct is going to find a way to clear up and go with them. On a good precinct, where I work, that's typically what happens. Because I don't know, I'm particularly skilled at dealing with people with like mental health issues, or at least that's something I feel comfortable with. I don't want to say I'm skilled, I'm comfortable with them. If I heard officers going to suicidal person call or a mental disturbance call, schizophrenic, this, that, and the other, I would try to go with them. And I would usually stand kind of right behind them. The newer officers always look at the senior officers thinking, oh, thank God he's here, I don't have to do anything. But a good senior officer, not that I'm good, but I would stand behind him. I'm like pushing him up. I'm like, hey, you go talk to him. Like, see that naked guy with poop running down his leg? It's your turn, bud. But I'll be real close to him. And if I see him doing something that I think is going to be a mistake, or I think it's going down the wrong road, or, they're going the wrong direction with it, I'm loud, I'm loud and I'm an alpha.
Oh, I know you're loud.
Yeah. I'm
And
not talking about that, buddy. But yeah, I'll speak up, and I will literally step in front of that newer officer and take over the run. And regardless of what the outcome, what we end up doing with it, when it's over, I'll turn to him and I'll say, hey, did you see how that went? Did you see what I did? That's what you do as an experienced officer when you have newer officers on. But at the same time, there's going to be moments where you're new and your partner's new and there's no one else to come. So you got to handle business. I mean, you're trained, you're qualified for the job, so you got to do it. Can we get back to this?
Yeah, we probably should at some point. We'll get through this 2-minute video at some point.
Yeah.
Before we do, wait.
Okay.
The case with the burglary, if I'm remembering right, sorry, I'm drunk and I forgot names, but that you wrote down, I'm almost curious if that's the one where the guy shot through the window.
Love you. My wife.
Do you remember? I love you too.
No, I don't need ice. I'm a man.
I have ice in my tumbler. By the way, you can buy it on my website. Allegedly. But I'm almost thinking that's the case, is where the guy shot through the window at the lady who grabbed the gun because she thought it was a burglar or something. Do you remember that one?
No, I don't know.
Because if that's the case, that would really fit in good with what we're talking today.
Well, for next week, we could cue it up. I don't want to go into it blind.
But that's so fun.
Okay, maybe after we finish this 2 minutes.
Okay, let's do it.
We're an hour and 9 minutes.
Gotta do it.
I tell you what, my wife would be really happy if 2 minutes were really this long. Am I wrong?
Quit bragging. 2 minutes.
2 minutes. So you get let's just say you're doing a regular building search. It's you arrive to a warehouse or an apartment building. It's supposed to be vacant, on an alarm call. The front door is open, but there's nothing suspicious about it. You think maybe the workers were here, they didn't secure the door properly. So you and your partner have to go and clear this building. You're not looking for a guy with a gun. You're just clearing the building. You get to this bathroom, you open the door, and you shit your pants. There's a guy there. What do you do?
I would probably scream and shoot my partner. That's what I would do. I think that's what I would do.
So I'll tell you, we already talked about you've had this shit scared out of you before. Literally. I've not quite been there, but I've
give a good answer.
You what?
Can I actually give a good answer?
Yes.
So this guy, I magically find him and he's in this door. I would take a second, collect myself, maybe move to the side of the door and give him some orders. How about that?
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, I've been in positions where I know if there was a dude behind that door, it would have scared the shit out of me. Like, I'm not saying that I'm so manly I've never been scared. It's just I haven't been in that situation. But I can tell you that pucker factor on this is freaking incredible.
Oh yeah.
I would probably
don't blame him for like
no
for the pucker part. Like
no, you scream, and I'm screaming obscenities too. You know, I'm like you MFer, blah blah blah, and depending on I've got my gun out already, and I'm not going to clear it the way he did. I'm not just going to lazily open the door. Yeah. But if I did, I looked in there and there's a dude literally pointing a gun at me, and he knew the police were there because we did the right things by announcing our presence and all that. Dude, you knew I was coming and you got that gun pointed at me. I'm blasting. So you're gonna take 8 rounds right now, and until I get tired of pulling the trigger, and then I'm falling back. Probably I don't know what this hallway looks like, but I'm finding a hard cover spot. Maybe the stairs. The stairs are probably the safest bet. But yeah, you're falling back, but then you're gonna maintain cover on that door. You know, you're gonna stand there and you're gonna hold that position until the cavalry gets there, right? You're not just gonna.
No, I think you turn and scream. I think you turn and scream and shoot your partner. I think that's what you do. We've all been there.
I want to acknowledge Roy. Thank you very much, Roy. I'm glad that you're watching. I'm glad you're still awake. I know you get up really early in the morning. Past the whiskey. Are you allowed to have whiskey? I need to stop and see you someday, Roy. I'll grab some tacos one day and come by and say hi. Yeah. So here's his reaction. We're gonna watch this a couple of times, I think. Jesus.
How did he not fall down the stairs? I mean, that's impressive.
And how do you not know where your partner is? Oh, it's so bad.
I mean, he had to run past her, right?
Yeah.
He ran past her. Like, it happened so quick, or maybe she didn't recognize what was happening, or maybe maybe they were clearing things separately, which you shouldn't do. She didn't know what was going on, and he literally ran past her because he would have had to run past her to shoot her.
I was trying to figure out what she was. He's just going, help, help, help. Yeah, and then he runs to the car.
Shot fired! Hey, get in the car! Kill that! Shot fired! Shots fired! Shots fired! I repeat, we have shots fired! Kill them! Kill them!
What is he saying? Why is he saying kill that?
Kill that, kill that, kill that. I don't know what he's talking about. I was trying to figure that out.
God.
Several people in the chat have noted that he's fast. Let's give credit where credit's due. He keeps up on his cardio. Apparently his partner didn't.
I think I saw pictures of him. I don't think he's skinny at all.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. Etta says, isn't that her name? Well, let me see.
Hey, get in the car! Kill them! Shot fired!
Oh, kill
maybe
that.
that's her last name.
Shots fired!
Yeah.
Shots fired!
Kill that.
I repeat, we have shots fired! Kill them! Kill them! Kill them! Let's go!
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
We have shots fired. We're at 2023 East 81st.
Right now.
We need 911 right now. Kill them!
We need 911. Maybe that's what they call their medics, right?
I guarantee they don't.
Anybody from Cleveland want to step up?
Oh, I guarantee the guy's a dumbass. And I don't want to completely quote everything wrong, but I believe his dad or uncle is like a really popular supervisor on the department. And that's a rumor as to why he got a job and he's still there. Yeah, this is bad. Can we talk about how you shoot your gun over your shoulder as you're running away, hit your partner, and keep your job?
You know, hold on a second. Because we were talking yesterday or yesterday, last week, about second chances and stuff. No, I just
I can't.
I'm not
dying.
saying there's never a circumstance that you wouldn't shoot over your shoulder.
Yes, there is never a circumstance that you would shoot over your shoulder. If
Hold
there's
on,
a
I'm not
dude
saying
on
that.
top
No,
of
never
you,
say never. That's not fair. But you just don't. Like, you fucking take a shooting stance, or you fucking get the fuck out of there, or you take a tactical position, or you do something. But indiscriminately firing rounds behind your shoulder, I get the whole self-preservation aspect, but we're going to assume this was an apartment or boarding house or something. What if there's kids sleeping that are going to get hit by your errant rounds? What if there's this or that? Like that, you're taught to know your target and beyond. How the fuck can you know your target if you're not looking at it?
yeah. I was gonna say, the only circumstance I can imagine that you can shoot over your shoulder is if there's a guy on your back and he's choking you unconscious and you're about to black out.
Okay, there you go. I said, never say never. That
right here, boom. But even that would be probably ill-advised because his arms are up here. You'd be better off trying to shoot him in the leg. But
yeah,
in that situation, you've already made a series of really poor decisions. Or just, there's always that guy there's always someone that's bigger, stronger, faster than you, and you're going to get your ass kicked sometimes.
not than you though. No one's bigger, faster, or stronger than you.
I am an old
no one's
man.
bigger than me, but I'm not. There's much people stronger and faster.
Very,
for sure.
very different circumstance. But yeah, but if you're in that situation, if you've got the wherewithal to draw your weapon and fire it appropriately, then kudos to you, because that's a very bad day as well. Not a situation I ever want to imagine myself in. But anyway, gosh, I can't.
You know what? Like, maybe he doesn't get fired. I mean, let's just say he didn't. So our understanding is he didn't get any kind of reprimand at all, right?
Yeah, that's what the article says.
Okay, so let's just say he didn't shoot his partner. I still think that's days or a suspension or whatever. I don't know what Cleveland's policies are, because that's just so unsafe. Now,
I think Mason figured it out. He was using the muzzle flashes like flashbangs to blind his assaulter.
maybe he had blanks in there or something. They weren't actual rounds.
He was hoping that the smoke, the residual smoke from the gunpowder, was going to create a cloud of concealment behind him.
Yeah, like something had to be done. I remember there was some article, maybe we can find it, where they talked about, like, he got a review after that, and it was just called a setback. He shot a fucking cop. A setback.
Yeah.
How desperate are they for cops in Cleveland? That was a dig. My apologies. Cleveland
true.
can't like it very much because of that. One of our first podcasts together was a Cleveland podcast.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, wasn't it?
Our first one together. Yeah, the 137
one of the first
shots.
ones together. Yeah, it was. The Cleveland thing. Yeah, 37 shots. Yeah.
No, but as far as that goes, are they that hurting? Liam asked a question that is relevant to that way earlier, and I took note of it. Asking if the standards are being lowered with recruits, and we're not finding the same kind of recruits. Yes, 100%. We're not getting the people that used to be the hard chargers. I mean, we're still getting the hardcore guys that always wanted to be cops, but there's a lot of people getting through that wouldn't have gotten through in the past. And that's partially because, like, my department, when I took the test, I think there were over 2,000 people that took the test. And that list was going to go for 2 years, and they were going to hire 100 people a year. So basically the 10% of the people that took the test were going to get hired. Now they're getting 300 people to take a test, and they have to offer a test again because there's not enough people on that test to hire. So yeah, it's really bad everywhere, not just in Cleveland. Yeah, those are my 2 cents.
Those are my thoughts.
Yeah, those are my thoughts for today. I could also say that of like the recruit classes that are coming through, I don't know if this is the same in your agency, but when I went through, if you lost somebody during FTO phase, that was a big deal. If somebody quit during the academy, that was kind of a big deal. I think my academy, we lost maybe one person quit the first day, and then we had a couple people get fired because they couldn't pass things like driving or whatever. And we had one person that medically couldn't finish. Maybe 2 people. But, you know, those are like normal numbers. They're losing 10 to 15% of the class before the academy's over now, and then another 10 to 15% on FTO that aren't making it through. So if you have a class of 55, you might have 35 to 40 hit the street. When I started, if you had 55 start, you're probably going to get 49 to 50 on the street. It's different kind of people right now. It's
my class was, I think, to start 17, and 14 of us graduated. And by the way, that was 2,000 people came to that test, right? For, 10, 15 spots. And I think they ended up hiring a few more from the next band into the next academy, but it was tough. I mean, there was a lot of competition. Well, so yeah, we would lose people, and we lost, I think, 2 in FTO. So I don't remember how many there were, but there was like 13 or 14 of us total that got through, and we lost 5 or 6 through the academy.
Yeah. I knew.
I'm hearing now, though, people will quit and they will try to get them to come back. They will go to their house and try and get them to come back. That is terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying. That's
bad.
a big step to quit. I had a hard time in the academy because I'm a big fat dynamo, and I worked hard and I made it through. I hated it, and there were days I thought about quitting, but I never took that step of actually doing it. To actually quit, that's a big, big step. And for this type of job, do you want somebody that quit the second day of the academy?
Yeah,
it's scary, man. It's scary, and who in their right mind would want to be a cop right now? I honestly, you guys, I don't know if you guys all know me, but I left about a year and a half ago now. I probably at some point will go back in some capacity because it's in my blood. It's just something I love doing. It's stupid and I shouldn't do it, but I'm going to do it. But the newer generations, why? Why would you want to be a cop right now?
Go do something else.
You could make tons of money doing something else, and you don't have to worry about everything you have to worry about as a cop. The next 10 years are going to be really scary times in law enforcement, and I hope I'm wrong, but it's bad. Yeah.
Here, I'm trying to pull up. I'm going to post a video in chat for Nick because he missed my tackle because he doesn't follow me religiously as he should because he's an embarrassment to the human race. But I got you covered.
I wish I had my soundboard.
You what?
I wish I had my soundboard. I'd have something special for him.
That's funny. I only said that.
I wonder if there's a way to do it on here. Probably not.
Yeah, this setup isn't very conducive to that. You talked about, and I pulled up, I've got this body camera of the shooting that you were talking about.
Is it the same one?
It's out of Dallas Fort Worth, the Aaron Dean shooting of I don't know, some Miss Jefferson.
I'm pretty sure it's the one I'm thinking of where he shoots her through the window.
Here, I can kind of watch it real quick.
We can all watch it. It'll be fun.
Oh, yeah, but this whole stream is going to get age restricted.
Oh, okay. You're smarter than I am.
Yeah, which means that nobody will be able to watch it. I don't think they actually showed the shooting. It was on a news channel. But no, you're talking about how nobody wants to be the police right now. The stuff that happened in 2020 made it that way. Anybody that expresses an interest in being the police is called racist. Everything, like freaking homophobe, which is hilarious because I know a fuck ton of gay cops.
There's so many gay cops.
I know a lot of black cops too, but it doesn't
no
matter.
one on the job cares. Nobody cares
No.
about that. But
No.
people make it seem like it's a thing. We're
Yeah,
living,
and-
sorry, you go on. I'll shut my mouth.
Yeah, you're right. It's ridiculous, some of the accusations that are getting thrown out there, but it's just it's making these kids that would normally gravitate towards a job, they're afraid to, because they're afraid of all of the social pushback against it. Like, there's another, for instance, there's so many ignorant ass people out there. Back in, I don't know what year it was, during the Lehman Brothers thing, I was at a party with my wife one time, and we ran into some of her friends' parents, and they're like, "What do you do?" I was like, "I work in banking." And he goes, "Whoa." He's like, "This is, you got some balls working in banking these days." Like, and he was accusing me of being dirty. And I'm like, "You're what? Because some guys in fucking New York did something? Like, give me a fucking break." And there was this big like anti-banker push back then, and it's 1,000 times worse with police right now. You have people, good candidates, not applying for the job. There's no.
Is that who I think it is?
It's got to be.
It has to be.
Maybe. Yeah.
Buddy.
Yeah, I care for you too. It just threw me off. But there's nobody who wants the job, and then all the people that have the job that can get away are getting away. They're going to smaller departments, smaller jurisdictions, places where they support the police, or they're creating a podcast or doing some kind of side business, something
Or
like that.
Iowa.
Yes, moving to Iowa. If you build it, they will come, right? That's Iowa.
That's
right?
what you
Please
said.
Tell me I'm not an idiot. Yeah.
That's what she said. Yeah.
But at some point in time, things are going to change. The politicians are going to get voted out, and new politicians are going to be in place. They're going to say, "Hey, look, I'm going to stand behind my police. I want them to go out and actively pursue crime. I'm going to back them up when they do so. This is important stuff. We need to do that." But you're not going to be able to, it's not I made this analogy the other day. I recorded a whole video and I never posted it, but it's like, policing is not a water spigot. You don't just turn it off and then turn it back on. It's more like a classic car that you park in your barn. You got this old Corvette that, it was your dream car. You drove the crap out of it. You kept good tires, good brakes. You changed the oil. You only ran premium fuel on that thing. It was cherry. You wiped down the leather constantly so it wouldn't crack. And then, you got busy, or you got shipped off in the military, and you parked it in the barn. You come back 5-10 years later, you get your beautiful Corvette out of the garage. That thing was cherry. Well, now the hoses have all dried out. The leather's all cracked. The brakes are rusted to the hubs. You've got to put $10,000 in that car just to get it running again. The police departments are the same thing. You can't just go out there and fire that thing up and expect it to go racing down the street. And people are in for a very rude awakening when they expect the police to go out and be the police again, because we're not capable of doing it. We don't have the manpower to do it. The manpower is a major part of it, but we don't have the experience and know-how to do it either. Because you're going to have to put a lot of effort to convince someone like me that I need to risk everything to go out there and do some of the things that you want me to do. After I've shut it down for as long as I've shut it down, and I've been the kind of cop that you want, where I just go out and I'm really nice to people. I give people rides. Instead of giving them criminal charges, I just take them to another side of town and call their grandmother for them and do all that kind of stuff. Like, that's what you've asked me to do for the last couple of years. When you want me to start arresting everybody on site and everything, it's going to take a lot of convincing. And I don't know. It is what it is, man.
I don't see that ever coming back, though, to be honest.
I'm just saying if it ever does,
Well, that's a scary thing for the new guys, that shoot their partners in the back is they've never had this experience, right? They haven't. Look, me and you were both very new at one point, and it takes time. You're right. You can't be an FTO forever. You need to go out there and do it, but it takes time to mature, and you're just not going to get the experience that you had there. I think a lot of people in my generation of policing that could leave before they retired left. So there's a big gap, which I'm going to say probably millennials are going to be a big gap. You're going to go from boomers, or you're going to go from Gen X to Gen Z, and you're not going to have the millennials with the experience that kind of had that intermediate experience. And then you're going to go into Gen Z, and then when whatever the hell else is next, and you're going to be kind of missing that chain, that link in the chain, and it's going to be problematic.
Yeah, and let's see, we're 2 years into this thing. When I came on, and I worked a different part of the city that I work now when I was on probation, it was a very busy part of the city. It was very well known for gang activity. The Bloods, there's a particular, this street in the Bloods, it was the name of the street, and the Bloods were named after it. It was extremely well known. Very busy area, very dangerous area. And when I came on, everyone had to kind of feel you out for a little while. They let you take your runs. They kind of watch you from a distance. And they're like, hey, this guy's actually all right. We're going to start calling him when we're going to go out and do fun things. You know what I mean? And fun things are sitting up on dope houses, trying to find stolen cars, hustling dope boys that are working the corner, working the girls to figure out who the dope boys are, all that kind of stuff. The guys that would take you under your wing are the guys with 3 to 5 years on at that point in time. Some awesome cops took me under their wing. When it was when we had 8 people and only 5 cars, and we knew that the lowest men on the totem pole were gonna have to double up. They would choose. They're like, hey, I'll take Ben with me tonight. Because they knew they're gonna get stuck with somebody. They at least wanted somebody that was halfway competent. And I would just ride passenger. They would drive and they would tell me everything, teach me the way of the land, teach me how to get into people's pockets, all the stuff that you learned in the academy, but you hadn't put into practice yet. That's what these guys were teaching young cops like me at the time. If things ever turn around, the guys right now with 2 to 3 years of experience have never done police work. And if you wait another 2 or 3 years, those guys definitely have never done police work. And of course I'm overgeneralizing, because there's guys on second shift that are knuckleheads. They're out there working hard. God bless them. But there's not as many as there used to be. That's for sure. Did you have that? Do you remember when you came on, there's that guy with 3 to 5 years on that was yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
One of the questions that you ask on the podcast all the time is what was your dumbest rookie mistake? And you want to hear mine?
I'd love to hear it. I got to think about what mine is, because there's a shitload of them.
Well, this one is one of my favorites because it was no harm, no foul. And telling this story kind of reminds me of it, because I was on probation. I was off coaching for less than 6 months, and the guys called me. They're like, hey Ben, we found a car registered to a guy with a burglary warrant, and he's parked. We know who the guy is. The house he's parked in front of is his baby mama's house, so we're pretty confident that he's going to leave. And I was working third shift at the time, so they tell me where the car is, and I remember it so well. I was driving a Crown Vic, which is iconic. All the cars were Crown Vics that we had at that time, and I drove past the address. I saw the car, and it was we call it a mid-watch special. We have mid-watch units, and they have a plane car. And they had initially spotted the car, but they hadn't found a spot to sit up on it yet. So I drove down the street. I spotted the car. I realized what direction it was parked. So I went around the block, and I got behind the car, but six cars down, and I pulled onto the curb so that I could see out of my window just a little bit. I could see the car up there, where I knew that if somebody got in the car and started it and left, I'd be on the car. And from my position, anybody walking out to the car is not going to realize that there's a police car down the street. It was like a perfect hiding spot. And we went back, we have like our main channel, and then you can turn the dial. It's like A, B, C, and D. We always worked off of D or E. So they're all telling me like, hey, Ben, we're working this house, working this guy. Come back here, go back to D, and let us know when you're in position. I got there first, and I got like the perfect spot. They're all asking me, and like the plane car drove by me, and he's like, yeah, dude, they can't see you at all. Like, that's the perfect location. So I'm literally right behind the car, and then everybody else is like paralleling the street on the side streets. So any way that this guy went, somebody would have gotten in behind him. Car takes off, or guy walks out to the car. I'm airing it back on the back channel. I'm like, yeah, I see him walking out of the house. He's getting in the car. Brake lights are on. He's going. I was so new. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So he hits the road. I get out behind him. I'm back on D, which is not the main air, which is not the air that the dispatcher is listening to. It's not the air that the sergeant is listening to. It's the air that only me and my buddies are listening to. I pull out behind the guy. I'm airing everything. I'm like, okay, we're heading southbound on this street, eastbound on this street. Like, aired everything perfectly. He never tried to evade me per se, but he was driving a little bit quick. And then, you're watching the car in front of you. You're watching for other cruisers. Had one cruiser behind me, two cruisers behind me. Went ahead and did my traffic stop. Everything went great. We did a felony stop, stopped the guy, whatever. And then it was funny because the guys in the wagon actually came up, grabbed him, cuffed him up, drug him back to the wagon. They patted me on the back. They're like, hey, good job, buddy. Like, we got it from here. Turns out the chick up in the ID bureau had baked brownies that day and posted on Facebook that she had brownies. So they wanted to take him up to headquarters so that they could get brownies. But they all came in and were like, they're like, oh, Ben, you did such a great job. Like, you aired all the streets perfectly. And they're like, but next time you should do that on the main air. And it's not the biggest mistake in the world, but I was airing everything on a back channel, and then somebody had to repeat everything that I was saying on the main air.
No.
So that the dispatcher and the sergeant and everybody knew what was going on. And it was funny because it was like, it was one of those things where I got a lot of attaboys and I earned a lot of respect from people because they're like, oh, you're one of us now. You tracked this car, you caught the bad guy. But at the same time, you're kind of an idiot. And it was funny. It was kind of like when your kids do something cute but stupid. I don't know.
Everything you do is cute but stupid.
I don't know if anyone that's not a cop would appreciate that story.
No,
but to me, it was hilarious. When I see the other dudes who were on that call with me, the first thing that pops into my head is that because they work I work a different side of town now, and it's good. It's the camaraderie on the police department is hard to describe because like
I want to show you something. Can I show you something?
Please.
It's not a Vic though.
Oh, it's a Caprice.
It's like a Caprice.
But yeah.
I
think you sent me that picture once.
The unnamed police department's car.
That's right. I was about to say it.
I'm gonna have it sit for the podcast now.
All right.
Or the live stream. It'll be a part of it now.
It's very cute.
It's very cute, but stupid. I think the dumbest thing, I did a lot of dumb stuff as a rookie, but I remember getting raked over the coals, and I wish I could remember the circumstance, but it was graveyards, maybe, I think it was some tweakers, maybe burglarizing a storage unit place. And I was talking to him, and I don't know why I did this, but I walked in front of their car to speak to the passenger instead of behind it. And they're like, what the fuck was that? I said, what? And they're like, why'd you walk in front of that dude's car? And I was like, oh. And my sergeant, like, he acted like, I mean, it was dumb. It was definitely dumb, but he told me about it like every day for like a month. I'm like, all right, I'll never do it again, man. I learned my lesson. You're right.
But what was the call about though?
I think I found him, or maybe I went to cover somebody. But the car was like, it was in park. I knew it was in park, but
yeah,
I didn't. It was just stupid. Like I wasn't thinking about it. And I wish I remember why I didn't go around the car. But I just
being
remember
lazy.
everyone was very upset that I did that.
Ah,
And I apologize. All right, I was wrong.
it's one of those
But
like
I didn't
nitpicky.
shoot you in the back.
Everyone's being nip. Yeah, you didn't run away shooting your gun over your head.
Should we talk
Oh.
about the
Yeah,
chief?
we should.
Because I feel like we might disagree on this, and it could be fun.
Yeah, and we're losing the audience because we're just talking.
People love to hear us talk and play with our police cars.
Here, let me pull up the video and get it shared on the screen here. So, do we need backstory on this?
No backstory. Let's play it and let the people decide what they think.
All right.
Make it big. That's what she said.
Old 1050. East Lake Service Road, Woodlands Parkway. It's going to be a golf cart, no tag. Good evening.
How you doing?
Good. I'm Deputy Chief of the Sheriff's Office. Stopped you because you driving tag or unregistered vehicle with no tag on it on the roadway.
Yeah, we went to the club. It was closed, so we went over and picked up some.
Is your camera on?
It is.
I'm the police chief in Tampa.
Oh, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Okay.
I'm hoping that you'll just let us go tonight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll say you. Now that you say you look familiar, so.
Yeah, I'm sure I do.
Okay. So, all right, folks. Well, have a good night. Staying over here in East Lake Woodlands.
We
Yeah,
live
we
in
live-
East Lake Woodlands.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, it's nice to meet you. So, I'm Deputy Jacoby.
Okay.
Same here, my friend.
All right.
Take
so-
care of yourself.
All right.
Sorry
Take care.
to bother you.
All right. No worries. No worries. Like.
Is that enough?
Sorry, let me unmute myself.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've seen a lot on the police pages about this, and it's kind of interesting. It's really 50-50. Half of the people are like, nah, it's not a big deal. And the other half are like, what are you talking about? This is ridiculous.
She was forced to resign for this.
All right, I'll go first this time. That's what she said.
Rarely. That never happens.
Ever.
What kind of
99
fantasy world do you
anyway.
live in?
Anyway, we're losing track here.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I gotta not look at the chat because they're talking about moms and stuff. But here's the problem I have with this. I have no issue at all with her identifying herself as a cop. None. I think there's plenty of reasonable reasons to do that. The moment she says, like, I hope you let us go, fuck you, bitch. You completely lost me there. I know the times that I've been pulled over by a cop, I let them know, like, hey, I'm an officer, or maybe I even, when I give them my ID, I hand them my police ID too. And we were always taught to do that is just so people know you're armed and things like that. I know, like, people kind of like lose their minds over professional courtesy, so to speak. I kind of believe you shouldn't write a ticket to any decent person unless they're doing something stupid. That's the way I believe in policing. So if a cop's not doing something ridiculous, I may not write them a ticket. Or if, soccer mom's not doing something ridiculous, I might not give them a ticket, or whoever, why are you out there? Like, if you're pulling over cars just to write people tickets, I could go off on a rant for that. But my issue with her, not the fact she badged him, whatever, the fact that she went and made that statement, I hope you forget about it or you don't do anything about it, that to me is too far.
Here's my take on it, and then we can go back and forth. Like, my perspective was formed around, I watched the video and then I read the comments. And there's a lot of comments demanding that this deputy be fired because they're like, oh, well, he's going to give her courtesy and he's going to punish everybody else, whatever. Every police officer that gets pulled over finds a way to make sure that the cop knows that he's an officer. I'm not hiding anything by saying that, right? Like, but every single person that gets pulled over, not every person I've ever pulled over, because I don't pull over very many cars. And when I do, I'm definitely not looking to write a ticket unless it's something super, super egregious. But I think everyone is looking for a way out of a ticket when they get pulled over. I think that's a normal human thing. And like when I get stopped, I haven't been stopped in a while. For one, almost every time I've been stopped, I've been in full uniform, and it's always by someone in another jurisdiction that's working in my jurisdiction, because I work in a very large city and there's a lot of little pockets, and I'll just sit there and stare at them. I'm like, really? I'm like, you're pulling cars over for 42 and a 35. Like, that's kind of my perspective. It's not good. And obviously if I'm in uniform, I'm going to get let go. But I've got, like, when I work third shift and I was like sitting at home editing videos, I might run to the gas station at like 3 a.m. and I would get pulled over then because there's a major road right outside of my.
How fast are you driving, man? Slow the fuck down.
It wasn't for speed. It would be for like an illegal left turn or something like that.
Follow the law, Ben. Stop breaking the law.
And there's a tiny jurisdiction that has county-wide authority. It might be a township that's right near my house that they would always get me. And I would not hide the fact. I mean, and I would usually be very annoyed because I know what they do. They're just trying to write tickets. They're idiots. They would get behind me and I would drive at my normal speed, and then they would kick their lights on. I would get in the right-hand lane and slam on my brakes so that they would almost hit me. And then when they walked up, I'd have my police ID in front of my driver's license and hand it to them that way. And, you know, they would let me go. It is what it is. I've seen so many videos of people that are fucking assholes when they get pulled over that this lady doesn't bother me. That's the end of it. You know what I mean? Like, there's like other police chiefs that are like, I'm going to call the mayor, you know, or like, you're lucky you're not going to have a job in the morning, or do you know who I am? I thought she was really nice. Did she maybe not choose the right kind of words? Yeah. But it's not the end of the world. Is it a fireable offense? Like, do you think it's a fireable offense? The way she handled herself.
The difference is she's a chief.
I mean, what if she wasn't?
Think about it from that perspective.
What if it was a regular patrol officer?
Why are you defending the brass, Ben? Why are you defending the brass? Okay. If it was a regular patrol officer, do I think she should have had to resign? I don't know. She's saved us a couple times today, by the way.
Yeah, she's smart.
She's smarter than both of us, but
probably.
Do I think she needed to be fired for that? I don't know.
Yeah.
My understanding, based on some things I have heard, is this isn't the only issue she's having. It was one of many issues. It's compounding. But to answer your question, if it was a patrol guy, I would still think he was a giant douche. Let's say you drove through Iowa and I somehow became a cop here. I would write you a ticket no matter what. But let's just say you handed me your fucking ID, police ID, and said, I hope you don't write me a ticket. I'm going to write you a ticket. I'm going to write you a ticket. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'll be honest right now. If I stopped somebody on patrol and I had no plans on writing them a ticket, and if they said to me, please don't write me a ticket, I'm going to write them a ticket. Maybe I'm an asshole, but she knows better than this. Once she badged herself, there's no way this dude's going to write her a ticket, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's
Well,
for
and the other
somebody that
thing,
is with brass that should be more ethical, that should be the example of her police department. As I said before, fuck this bitch.
I mean, yeah, she's an admin, and I think she might not be a good police officer based on the history that I've seen. But I'm just judging an incident by itself. I don't think here's the thing I'll say. Everybody needs to drink a glass of calm the fuck down. And I mean that. And it's like, I'm not saying that what she did was perfect, but was it the end of the world? No. And the people calling for this deputy to get in trouble? No. The other thing is, like, I don't know if this is some kind of gated community. I don't know if it's a resort, vacation spot type thing where they commonly get drunks driving golf carts like idiots down the street. If I worked in an area like that where the residents who were more permanent residents were tired of the idiots in the golf carts, and you had to use the unregistered cart as your PC for a stop, and you're stopping all carts that don't have proper tags and all that, at this hour, what is it? Well, it's only 7:30 at night, but it's dark out. You're looking for drunks. You're looking for drunk idiots and partiers. Even if she didn't badge him, they probably weren't going to get a ticket. At least that's the world that I operate in. Then you show your badge, and you're definitely not getting a ticket. So she was most likely not going to get a ticket regardless. I don't know. I think it's one of those things that it's just blown out of proportion. Because, like, somebody was like, well, she's a cop, she shouldn't break the law. Like, my buddies were saying that. And
hold on a second. Here's another thing I haven't even thought about until just now. She's just the passenger.
Yeah. Like, she wasn't going to get a ticket regardless because she's a passenger.
Regardless.
Yeah. No. But I don't know. Everybody tries to get out of tickets. People say that they have to poop. They say that they're running late for work.
By the way, I will not write somebody if they say they have to poop.
Well, there you go.
Go for that.
By the way, I will basically not write you, period, unless I have to. I haven't written a ticket in a very long time. Basically, traffic crashes is the only time I write tickets. And it's funny because I'll be driving down the road and someone will commit an infraction, and then all the cars are pointing at them. I'm like, come on. Like, you tell me you never change lanes without using a turn signal or slow roll to stop sign. Like, if it's not a big deal, I'm not. You're just letting these.
You know how many people are killed on the roads every single year, Ben?
I know. The good thing that there's other people.
You're letting your
traffic.
Community down.
Oh, you have no idea. You have no idea.
You tarnished the car.
I literally put out a video where I said that I'm not going to write parking tickets, or where I bitched about people calling it about parkers. Like, there's
hold
so
on
many.
A second. What about I'll write handicap tickets all day long.
Oh yeah. I had a good handicap ticket. This is years ago. I was working special duty at a grocery store, and there's nothing. I'm standing in there. You're just there preventing the place from getting robbed, and it was boring as hell. I was there for 4 hours a night. It was in a bad area. But I spend most of my time talking to the clerks. Every once in a while, some kids will come up and want to talk to me, and then I'll look out in the parking lot and make sure everything looks normal. I saw a guy literally back his car into a handicap spot. And I walked out and I was like, dude, come on. Because he backed in so I could see his windshield. There's no placard. And the dude jumped out and he's like, spry. He's like a 27-year-old young guy. And I was like, dude, you can't park there. He goes, I'm out of gas. I was like, well, move your car.
Don't got no gas
in
it.
Yeah, he goes, it's out of gas. He goes, you move it, bitch. I was like, oh, I'm going to move it. So I went and got my ticket book, and he literally fucking walked away. I was like, are you serious? I was like, and I gave him another warning. I'm like, if it's out of gas, you need to push that car out of that spot, but you're at a $500 parking spot and you're about to get a ticket. And he called me some more names. So yeah, I went and wrote him a ticket and fucking towed his car. That's different, but the streets that are too narrow where people park up on the curb to avoid getting their car hit, and then fucking Nancy down the road has to call in and say, there's 1,000 parking violations on my street. I'm like, okay, Nancy, you go write the tickets then. Like, you can apply for the job, and if you want to be that person that goes down the street and writes on 1,000 parking tickets and pisses off the whole neighborhood makes them hate the police, I will allow you to do that.
Let me add
I went
something
on a
else
tangent.
to this whole element is in the chat, by the way. Let me know if I'm talking slow or fast, because it's been kind of weird for me the last couple of minutes. But so she does the thing that everybody does on a ticket. As a cop or as a former cop, that offends me. That shows me how out of touch she is. That shit does that. I mean, I know you just let crime go by, but it bothers me when people just, if I pull you over and you're like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm running late or whatever, and it's not, you're not going ridiculously fast, or you're like, shit, I'm sorry, I should have stopped all the way. I'm not here to fuck people, right? I'm just gonna, all right, hey, just be more careful, kind of thing, right? But the way she approaches it is just, to me, just so unprofessional. She should know better than that. It's just ridiculous. Now can I bring up the fact that she got fired?
Yeah.
So the end of the article associated with this says that in 1995 she was fired for assaulting a police officer. And then the charges got dropped or something, and then she became a cop again. And then she somehow became chief. This is why we have these problems. You have people like her and people like Art Acevedo that cheat the system and somehow keep getting jobs when they have no right to be a cop.
Yeah.
Or chief.
Did you see any details about the original?
No, I meant to do some
charge.
research, but I probably got on Pornhub instead.
Man, this is bad timing. I think my desk is falling apart. So, like, we don't completely disagree, but I just think it's a little bit blown out of proportion. Can you at least meet me halfway on that one?
You mean halfway? Halfway?
Yeah.
Is it being
at least
blown
9
out
inches?
Of proportion? Yeah, I agree. But still, fuck that bitch.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know her. I'm just judging this one interaction. So it is what it is. And here's the opposite extreme.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing, sir? Officer Duskin, Sarasota Police Department. You're on audio and video recording. The reason for the stop, you were observed going 57 and a 40, and you were on your phone texting while you were doing that. That was at Euclid and Fruitville.
You don't need to point at the officer.
I'm not pointing at you. I'm pointing in the direction where it was.
I'll just call the chief, how's that?
Go right ahead, sir. And see if I see-
So what would you rather have? What would you rather have? This chief that's like,
are we playing the what if game? They're both wrong.
like, by the way, I'm the chief of police in Tampa. I hope this can go away. Or you get this fucking cocksucker who's like, oh, really? How about I call the chief? How about that? Like, people they're equating the two. How about that? How about that? Huh?
They both suck. Can we meet halfway?
Can we agree that one is worse? If you don't agree that one is worse, then you're not my friend anymore. I'm going to take my Christmas presents back.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
You're not my.
I'm going to take my police car away.
That's fine.
No, objectively, this dude's worse. But they're both bad.
I can tell you, I don't stop very many cars. How many times have I stopped police officers? I can only think of one. Well, besides undercover, I've stopped undercover cars before. I've stopped vice officers that were screaming down the road. I've been stopped when I was working plane cars. Fuck, that pisses me off. I stopped some guys when I was new. Where I work, our shift changes. Like it's hard to describe. The precincts that are next to each other have they start an hour apart. So I work from 7 to 3. The precinct literally right next to me works from 6 to 2, and then that carries over through all the shifts. So I was on an early reporting precinct, and We were driving down the road. We kind of drifted onto the precinct to our south that got off an hour after us. So the second shift guys were getting off work and going home. Cops don't always follow the speed limit. It's kind of a thing.
Follow the law.
A lot of cops follow the law, but some cops don't. And it's well known. We're in a very high crime area. This is when I was on probation. The area I talked about with the blood gang and all that other stuff. And we're on side streets. This car, it was a little Honda Civic, and it wasn't new. It was like not old, but it wasn't a brand new car. It comes zipping off of a side street right in front of us. I'm driving the wagon. It turns eastbound, is hauling ass. So we get up behind it. We're like, and this fucking it was the old wagons that were built like an ambulance. You know, it had like the box on the back. Did you guys have that kind of wagon? Yeah. This thing was a dog. It was a beast. And it was like, took everything you could to get up to speed. I got up behind him. I mean, I'm like inches off his bumper, kick on my lights. We're like, this motherfucker. You know, we kick on the lights. He pulls over and hangs a police hat out the window. And we both just started laughing. We walked up to the car and he was like, he's sitting back, he's laughing. He's like, dude, I'm sorry. He's like, I just got off work. I didn't see you guys back there. He's like, I'm sorry. And we didn't ask for his ID or anything. We just said, peace, dude, you know, go home, have a good one. Is that worse than what the chief did?
Yeah.
Hanging a hat out the window?
Maybe, yeah.
But
I've heard stories of people hanging radios out the window and stuff like that, not even pulling over.
I've had everyone I've always attempted has always pulled over for me. But yeah, like that guy hung his hat out the window. I didn't give a shit. He was cool. I wasn't looking to hem people up. I was looking for bad guys. I thought maybe he had just committed a shooting and he's fleeing from something, right? Like that I don't know if that, I'm sure that's happened to you before, or at least to guys that you know.
Pulled over. I started to pull over in unmarked once because I thought they were leaving the scene of a shooting. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm talking about legit shootings where you're just driving through the hood and some car is driving like a bat out of hell. And you're like, hey, this car is flying. And I run the tag, it comes back to a girl and it's dudes driving. You know, that's baby mama's registration. It's like gang member 101 and it's a dirty car. He's hauling ass down the road. You're trying to catch up to it. And then as you're following this car, a shooting call goes out or something bad goes out. Like those things happen. So when someone's driving like that, you get up on them. But the second that I realized it wasn't that situation, I wasn't going to write that guy. It doesn't matter if he's a cop or not. I'm not going to write that car.
So you don't care about all the innocent people that are killed on roadways every year, is what you're saying?
You know what I do care about is people that make absurd false equivalences. That's probably the most obscene thing on this planet that happens all the time. That's all I'm going to say about it. Oh.
You seem upset by that. I think that people agree with me. Here's the thing. I speed everywhere. I mean, allegedly I speed everywhere. I'm not going to hold up my hand and pledge to God on that one. But I speed. I don't speed excessively, but I do speed a little bit. If I get stopped, that's on me. I would never blame the cop for writing me a ticket if I was a cop or not, because I made the choice to speed. Now, we always want to say, like, you know, I do you believe in the cops should be held to higher standards? Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Okay. So I think obeying traffic laws, which apparently you can't fucking do, is something that we should do. You said you got pulled over all the time. I've been pulled over like 4 times in the last 12 years.
Because listen, they camp.
Listen, Linda.
They camp my street, my exit onto this one road. It's kind of like when I was on coaching. I know you don't like saying coaching.
Fuck you, Saul. He's on your side.
Listen. I'm a little tipsy, and I read it wrong. I'm sorry, Saul.
I am in a mess.
Saul, I love you. When I was on coaching, I know you love the term coaching. I was on first shift. My first phase of coaching, I was on first shift. Dick happens on first shift, especially in the part of town that I worked. So my coach was like, all right, we're going to go to the spot and write some stop sign tickets, because you have to, when you're on coaching, you have to demonstrate that you know how to do traffic stops and write tickets and all that kind of stuff. So we went to an area, and it was like a Y intersection where one lane is straight, the next lane kind of comes in gradually, there's a stop sign, and then you have to turn right and go down the road. It's one of those ones where it's so wide open that nobody ever stops. Like, nobody stops. So we would sit around the corner and watch everybody slow roll the stop sign and go out and write them stop sign tickets. That's the kind of shit that you do when you're on FTO and you need to learn how to write tickets. It's not something that you do when you've been on for a minute. You know what I mean? And
Hold on a second, though.
well, no, if it's a high crime area and there's a lot of dope and shit in that area and you're trying to get guns and gang members and stuff, do it all day long, but not for the purpose of writing tickets.
There was an intersection that I really liked, and I probably abused it, but I got some good stuff out of that intersection.
Yeah.
And it was a four-way stop. It was just a four-way stop, and I sat back, and people would go through it at 40 miles an hour without even stopping. I think that's legit all day.
Well, no, if you're trying to get stuff, then I'll go for it. But we do 4 coaching phases.
Let's just say, like, I'm not trying to get stuff, which I was in that area. I mean, that was always in the back of my mind. But somebody going through a stop sign like that, legitimately, without looking, could kill somebody.
Look, yeah, but this was like a not popularly traveled road. It's like everyone in the area knows, and they were slow rolling it. They were like, it was ticky tack parking sign, like stop sign shit. You know what I mean? It was stuff that I wouldn't do. The only people that do that shit are new guys or assholes.
Well, and that's the thing too, is I think because of the department, I just hate saying this and being like a conspiracy guy, but I think once you get to a higher level of admin, like this chief in Tampa, that abuses their powers, you forget about like what's really important. And I mentioned this on a podcast coming up, is we were told once 2 tickets a week, and all of us were like, "That's a fucking quota."
Yeah,
you can't tell us to write 2 tickets a week, and they're like, "Well, that's a benchmark." No, that's a quota. Now, is it ridiculous to say, "Hey, try and we're having a lot of traffic issues, try and write some tickets"? No, it's not, because I think traffic is important, but I feel like police departments kind of forget about what's actually important. Not writing grandma a ticket, not writing a soccer mom a ticket, stopping crime. That's why the police exist, right? I mean, we do all these auxiliary functions, that's fine. But if you just want your cops going out and writing tickets, I agree with you. That is not what the police should be doing.
Well, and that's
you want to find some traffic guys to do that, fine. But your patrol guys should be being patrol guys.
The whole thing I was saying is that the people that pull me over are those ones that are pulling over the soccer moms to write them. That was the end of that story. I wanted to say to Spence, he's taken off. He's had some health problems lately, and he's been in and out of the hospital. Go get some rest, buddy. Take care of yourself, man. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, but this particular little township department near me that I've had words with supervisors on multiple occasions, they do. They literally they're writing soccer moms. And I get it, like, especially at night. I worked the same area for a little while when I was new. Pulling over cars, looking for drunks. You're not going to write a ticket anyway, so it's no big deal, but I had one try to lecture me one time. It took everything I could to be polite. And I always am polite to these guys. But sometimes I'm just like, go the fuck away. Like, we're not going to do this right now.
How fast are you going, though?
No, it was like illegal left turn.
Why would you get illegal? Like, are you going on the red arrow when there's
there's no light. It's a street that for years, up until 2 years ago, you could turn left from. And then just recently, they put a no left turn sign there. Because during busy hours, during peak hours, there was accidents there all the time. So at like 3 a.m, when I was running to the gas station to get a can of chew, there's literally not a car on the road. I would make a left-hand turn, and they would camp it and pull me over, and it would be me, and I'd be smiling at them with my freaking badge, like, here you go, that's me again.
Well, maybe you shouldn't be chewing, and maybe you shouldn't make that a legal left-hand turn all the time.
I definitely
You
should
ever consider that?
I can tell you that the last.
You ever consider going a different way? Like we tell people on accidents. You ever consider going a different way so you don't have to take a left-hand turn?
It takes like an extra minute and a half, and that is unbearable. I live right there. Don't you understand?
This is where I live, though. This is the way I go home.
This is the way I go. Don't you understand?
Sorry. Shark attack. Nick, thank you, buddy.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the $20. Really appreciate that. Does that mean that we're entertaining?
I am hammered, so I'm going to start probably saying stuff that'll get us in trouble soon.
I'm not hammered. I'm a little tipsy.
I pre-gamed it a little bit. I had a couple beers when I watched Andor, which I won't spoil, but you said it was like the greatest thing ever.
It was good, dude.
No, it wasn't.
It
was fine.
The first third of the season.
Bad, but it wasn't. I think Obi-Wan was just as good, if not better.
I think it was.
Don't argue with Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi fighting. You cannot argue with that.
It was about. I think Andor was better.
What? Saul, by the way, you're correct. It is absolutely correct.
It is. I think that the story of Andor and the characters were more fleshed out, more complex, and the circumstances were more real. Because with Obi-Wan, we knew Obi-Wan wasn't going to die. Like,
we knew Andor wasn't going to die.
But we didn't know about everybody else and the whole circumstances about... Dude, it's the beginning of the rebellion. It's the beginning of the rebellion. It's how it started.
No.
It's a big deal.
So much better.
Okay, we're gonna ruin everybody. We're gonna lose viewers.
I don't want to give any spoilers. It's fine. Like, I would watch it. Hold on a second, Brent. I thought we were friends here. Come on, buddy. You know, it's funny. I had a conversation with my wife, and she was asking me all these questions about the stuff with Star Wars. She's like, "How do you know all this? We've watched pretty much all the same stuff." Which isn't true, because if you haven't watched the Clone War cartoons, you haven't lived. So I've seen all those, but I said, you don't understand how many hours of my life I've dedicated to thinking about Star Wars. She's like, why? And I was like, I don't know.
Can I tell you about the time that I almost physically assaulted my wife?
What? I mean, we're all witnesses, but go ahead.
Tell me if I'm wrong here. So Star Wars is very important to my life. When I was a little kid, it was like the only movie that we could watch that was like not a kid thing. You know what I mean? It was like the biggest thing. I remembered hearing the stories about the people that got to see it in the theaters. Like my uncles were a little bit older than me, and they got to see it in the theaters live with the sound and all that stuff that they built for that. And it was my world. I've watched it thousands of times over and over and over again. And you know, the prequels came out and they were what they were. And then I met my wife way after those, and the newest movies came out, and we went and saw, what the fuck episode was it? Nice. What was the first one with Rey? What was that?
Oh God, trash.
I know, but what was it called?
The Force Awakens, which actually that movie wasn't too bad.
That one wasn't awful, other than some of it. But there was a lot of nostalgia in that one. It brought back like the feel, like, oh my God, we're back in the Star Wars world. This is awesome. And we went and saw it. Somebody had the kids that night for us, and you know, we're watching. It's no big deal. And Rey and Finn are running through the desert. They're getting shot at. There's TIE fighters flying over them. And they go to a ship that they're going to steal, and the TIE fighters blow up the ship. So then they turn.
God, that's my favorite part of all those movies.
Yes, they turn, and the guy and Finn was like, "There's a ship right there. Let's take that." And it's the Millennium Falcon. And she goes, "What? That piece of junk?" I turn to my wife and I'm like slapping her. I'm like, "Oh my God, they said the line, like blah blah blah." She looks at me and she goes, "What are you talking about?" I almost asked for a divorce. Am I wrong?
I have a meme that's in the queue with that line. I'll just tell you all of you guys here for it. It's Ray saying the garbage will do, and it's police department's hiring in 2022.
I was reading a chat. Say it again.
The garbage will do. Ray's line, right, is the little meme, and then and my comment on it is police department's hiring in 2022.
Pretty true.
Yeah, no offense.
No, it's out there. I mentioned in my video where I interviewed a homeless guy the other day. He was talking about a certain police officer, and I was like, "Oh, she's been fired." I've already requested videos of her that are going to go on the channel, and I'm gonna put her on blast. I'm not going to put her name out there, but I'm like, "Hey, this is an officer that was on probation and on FTO phase, and she is no longer with us. And when you watch this video, you will understand why." So yeah.
Oh, you're such a dick, but I love you.
Oh, I hated her from the moment I met her, and I'm very glad that she's been fired. So.
Oh no, I was talking to Saul.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I haven't been listening to you for several minutes.
That's funny. It's a little bit of back and forth, but can you at least tell me that I would have been justified?
Oh, I would have been very upset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to this day,
that was the best part of those last three movies.
It probably was the
that
moment. Line. Yeah. God, because like that was like a throwback to Leia. It was like the connection between the two.
You know.
Yeah.
If we could,
I tear up when I think about that. That's how
that movie was fine. The Force Awakens was fine,
except for the end.
Why?
Because
they killed Han Solo.
No, because isn't that the one where it showed like the kids like sweeping hallways or whatever, and they used the Force?
Was stupid. So no, the Force Awakens was
because they were showing that everybody has the Force, which is bullshit. It's like everybody's special.
No,
it was at the end of that movie. That's what they were implying.
That movie sucked, but that's not what they were saying. That was episode 8, which I think was The Last Jedi. I think. The Last Jedi. That's how much I stopped paying attention. So The Last Jedi was episode 8, and then 9 was The Rise of the Skywalker. 8, it showed the kids sweeping. Nerd.
Jeannie's my friend.
The Force Awakens or the Last Jedi.
Yeah, Troy. Definitely because of her hair.
Yes, it had the kids sweeping and stuff. It just showed one kid was Force sensitive. If you knew anything about Star Wars, there's plenty of people that are Force sensitive. Why? That was like the one thing in the movie that was fine. The rest of that movie was shit.
No, they were trying to be everybody is special. Everybody has the Force.
No, one kid used the Force.
You know what they were trying to do.
No, you were woke to wokeness and overly woke to the wokeness. My wife accused me of that today, by the way.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm just quoting her.
Yeah, I have tried to rewatch those movies and I can't do it. Particularly, is it The Last Jedi where Leia becomes like a magic super Jedi that can fly in space with? Yeah,
that was the worst one by far. By far, that was awful junk.
And Rey is a Mary Sue, like one of the worst Mary Sues in movie history.
What's a Mary Sue?
Mary Sue is somebody that goes from one scene to the next scene and has like an amazing array of powers that she didn't have before, with no training, no education or anything. Like she would not have been able to just grasp a lightsaber for the first time in her life and fight Kylo Ren and actually wound him. That's a Mary Sue. Like that you can't do. Like no, can't do that. Luke, who was a super powerful Jedi, he got his ass kicked. Like the first, all of his early fights.
Oh, Vader played with him.
Yeah, it was not even close. And so no.
See, that's the thing that I didn't like. I got in arguments online with people, which you can never win, about like the added powers. And I'm like, Luke didn't have this. You never saw this in you know, the prequels, which all of a sudden the prequels look a whole lot better than they used to. You didn't have all that stuff. You're telling me Yoda couldn't do any of that stuff, and now all of a sudden Rey and Kylo Ren can do this stuff with essentially no training? You know, it's just stop. Like, or where Luke, you know what? The Last Jedi, that scene where Luke died somehow because he overforced himself. What the fuck was that?
He was tired.
He was tired, but so he made himself onto a different planet that he wasn't even on, you know, in a different age. And that was bullshit. That was just completely out of nowhere. And it was just this totally made up power. And people are like, oh, it's fun, it's new. And I'm like, no, it's ruining Star Wars. You can't play with new rules. I wish they would just erase all of those. Because
they should remake them.
The Mando and Andor and stuff is fine. I'm getting heated. I'm getting a little heated.
One of the things that really bothered me was the Force ghosts having the ability to affect the real world.
I don't look at the comment. We're nerds.
I'm sorry, Pink Mosquito. It is what it is. We're gonna be buttoning this up soon. But the part where Yoda caused lightning, Force Ghost Yoda caused lightning to burn the tree that had the sacred scripts and stuff in it. Like, Force Ghosts can't affect the real world. Because that means that they could lightning strike and actually be involved in battles and things in the real world. And you can't do that.
That movie was bullshit.
Yeah, because then every Jedi that has ever died, once they die, can learn these powers and come back and fight. And that's not what the Jedis do.
Yeah, they should just honestly just pretend those never happened and apologize. Public apology.
They won't. I've shown all of the videos that I plan on showing, except for the one that we got recommended to us that I'll take a look at and consider for next week. Was there anything else that was big this week? We're 2.5 hours in.
No, I think we hit some things.
We did. I had fun with the Cleveland shit show. There's still stuff that we could have said about that we did.
Is it one of those things where was it so fucked up because he was new and didn't have experience, or did he suck, or a combination of all those? We didn't even talk about that she got a write-up for the body camera.
I know.
She got shot.
How do you get fucking shot and get suspended afterwards?
Let it go. All right, she should have turned her body camera on. Clearly. Okay.
Yeah.
She got shot. Can we just not?
It's nuts. Like, that's one of those things too where, you note the policy violation and you just recommend zero discipline.
It's like with Ella French.
Yes. Well, that one, from what I understand, the investigation, this is something I'm starting to see locally. The investigation was complete like a long time ago and the recommendation was made, but the Civilian Review Board is so far behind on checking on the investigations that they looked at it and they're like, okay, we concur with this. And they just initialed off on it. And it was like on this spreadsheet with like 1,000 other discipline recommendations, but it should have
never been in there.
There needs to be something put in place to prevent that from happening. I made a video about it, about how outraged I was.
There needs to be accountability on the accountability. And then there needs to be accountability on the accountability on the accountability. And then we need another oversight community about the accountability of the accountability.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're getting in dangerous territory of making me start a topic that I don't want to start tonight because it's going to be another 2 hours. Yeah, but there needs to be something where it's just like, she screwed up. I mean, that's a big deal, right? Not turning on your body camera. Turn on your body camera to protect yourself, first of all. 99.999% of the time, having that body camera on is going to save you. Now, you know what? I don't want to go too late, but that is a topic that I want to talk about. It pisses me off. It's a miscategorization of the truth. You hear these politicians talking about body cameras, and like my city, we just got new body cameras. We went from WatchGuard to Axon, and the politicians are out there like, oh, this is bringing another layer of accountability to our officers. You know what? Go fuck yourself. That's bullshit. Like, we've had body cameras for 6 or 7 years now. The majority of cases that have gone into an investigation since getting body cameras have been, the officers have been found. What's the word I'm looking for? What's the opposite of sustained complaint?
Not in trouble.
Yes, but there's a real word for it. But the officers have been exonerated, actually, by the body camera. Not the complaints are not being sustained by the body camera. The accountability that's being brought on by the body camera is the accountability of the citizenry, not of the police officers. We're finding that everyone's like, the chat's behind. We're finding that the police actually do a pretty damn good job. Like, you can basically go onto the server and pull up any video anytime you want, and the likelihood of finding a officer finding officer misconduct is exceptionally rare. And we've known this for a long period of time. Just because we have new cameras that have 4K imagery, and that they turn on more quickly, blah, blah, blah. That is not a police accountability issue. That is actually a police protection issue. Like the cameras that we have now, when I turn on my lights and siren, it wirelessly is connected to my camera, and it turns on my camera. If I pull up on someone else's traffic stop and they have their lights and sirens on, my camera automatically turns on. There's so many different triggers that turn my camera on, and what that does is that prevents me from forgetting to turn it on. That is actually a layer of protection for me as an officer. That is not something that's going to get me in more trouble as an officer. Oh, I should pull this story up. I just saw that there was a shooting that's local to me. The officer's name is Adam Coy. The guy who died, it's escaping me right now. I've got the video up on my channel, but he was sent on a call about a suspicious vehicle. As he's checking out this suspicious vehicle, he looks up the driveway. There's a driveway and a garage. The garage door is open. Right at the end of this, right where the suspicious vehicle is. He's like, well, there's an open garage door. I might go ahead and check this garage and make sure it's not broken into. He walks into the garage. A dude walks out from behind a car, and he's in one of his hands, he's holding his cell phone up like this. He's like, officer, officer, officer. And he has his other hand literally behind his back. Officer Adam Coy believed that this was a distraction technique. He shot the guy. He didn't turn on his body camera until after the shooting happened. And of course, I'm trying to tell the story from Coy's perspective because I wasn't there. I've only seen the video. As soon as he did the shooting, he turned on his body camera. So there was a look back period, but there's no audio. So nobody knows what was said between the suspect and the officer prior to the shooting. The guy who got shot was, I don't know, my best guess, he was definitely not armed. And he was probably intoxicated, just given the hour of the day. It was like 2-3 in the morning. I don't know for sure. I can't remember at this point in time. But everyone talks about having a 2-minute look back with audio and how that is going to bring accountability to the officer. What if with the Adam Coy shooting, the shooting that we see and all this, we don't have any audio? What if there was 2-minute audio with 2-minute look back with audio on that particular shooting, and this dude is walking out with his cell phone screaming obscenities at the officer, and the officer saying, hey, show me your hands, show me your hands, show me your hands. And the guy's got his hand behind his back saying, fuck you, officer. And he's holding his phone up to record him. That paints a very different picture. So all of the additional technologies built into these body cameras is something that officers should look at, saying, look, this is here to protect me. And people who are trying to say this is to bring accountability to the officers, they're lying. They're trying to make themselves look better, and they're trying to use it to score political points for themselves. But yeah, that's my tangent on the body camera.
Well, and this is kind of off in a different direction based on what you said, but a video was sent to me today, and it was I should send it to you. It's pretty good. It's an old cops video, and the guy is, I think it's just like a public hallway or something, somewhere in New Jersey, comes across a dude, gun points him. The guy's just sitting in a hallway smoking weed. This is from like the 90s, right? He fucking puts a gun to the guy's back, maybe even to his head. I don't remember. And tells him to get on the ground. He searches him, I think it ends up the guy's smoking tobacco. This was in 1995 or something. They dust him off and let him go. Could you imagine in 2022, 30 years later, a cop on body camera points a gun at a dude just sitting in a hallway smoking something and puts a gun to his back? 30 years ago, I watched that and I was like, holy shit, that's fucking awful. That's not police work. That's how they did it. So people want to argue and say police are so horrible. Look at what happened 30 years ago. In our lifetimes, or most of our lifetimes, look how much better it has gotten. I think the police, as much as we were kind of cracking jokes about shooting our partners, for the most part, when we're not shooting our partners in the back, we are better trained and more professional than ever. But we never look at the public and say, maybe you guys suck a little bit.
Yeah, I can tell you that the police have gotten better and society has gotten worse. That is beyond a doubt. I don't think that's arguable. I think anyone that argues about that is either stupid or they're lying. That's one of my other favorite lines. But I think about this frequently, and one of the things I was thinking about, there's a person on my Facebook. It's weird. You're a social media guy. I've got a couple of YouTube accounts. I got an Instagram and a Facebook account. It's amazing how different the audience is for each of those accounts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like I'll post a meme or something that I do it through the Facebook app that puts it at Instagram and Facebook at the same time. One thing on Facebook will take off and the other thing on Instagram will take off, but generally it's not the same on both platforms. And my followers are so different. And I've got a follower on Facebook who I think she genuinely supports me. I think she genuinely likes me. But she brought up the 40% of cops beat their wives thing the other day.
You saw that?
What's that?
You saw that?
Was that your alternate account?
No, I mean, you saw me beating my wife.
Oh, no. You're not. I mean, you're not a cop, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. Not
fucking
part of the
quitter. No. I'm trying to be like them.
I'm sensitive.
You know who those people are. No, but she brought that up and she's like, oh, in 1994, blah, blah, blah. And I told her, I was like, everybody knows that this is debunked. And she was like, well, I don't know that it's debunked. I looked at her page and it's all kinds of wacky cop stuff, like anti-cop. It's all she posts. But a lot of the stuff that I post, she actually posts favorable comments on. It's weird. So I don't want to like start a war with her, but I kind of usually dismantle people. But I was thinking about how to address this study and all that, and I might try to get a copy like Mike the Cop did, make my own version. But I want to touch on what you mentioned. Like that was 1994. Let's assume that was 100% accurate. That was 30 years ago. Our society is so much different. Our police departments are so much different.
I was 9.
Yeah, I was 14. But it's just a different world. Like the officers who responded to that study, they became officers in the 70s, you know, like these were guys that were born in the 40s and 50s that responded to this. These were not modern police officers. And the progression of information has expanded so much since the advent of the internet and the expansion of the internet. And that's funny. I thought you were older than that, to be honest. He comments everywhere. He's like, he doesn't stop. He's a strong supporter, but geez, sometimes he hounds me. I just want to smack him. But I think there's a chance I might run into him someday, so I shouldn't say that because he might be younger, and he's definitely younger than me. He might be bigger than me. What do you think?
I don't even know what are you even talking about?
The
You went
highlight
Joe Biden there for a second.
the guy that you highlighted.
He said it was a small sample size.
Oh, I thought he said I wasn't a small sample. I thought he was saying, never mind.
Get this man a vote for presidency.
I've got like 6 of these in me.
This is the second one of these boys, and
I thought he was saying he was young. I don't think he's young. I think he's probably my age or close to my age because he knows a lot of the same things that I know. Anyway, yeah, it was a small sample size. It was like a group of people at in-service training or something like that. Brent, you probably are bigger than me. You're probably nicer than me too, to be honest.
I'm bigger than you.
Yes, you are. I'm only 5'9". I'm just a spry little guy.
You present yourself as such a big fella.
It's big where it counts.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but just think about all. What'd you say?
I said, "What the fuck are we talking about?"
I don't know. We were talking about 1994 versus now. Just how much things have changed, how much police work has changed. Like, police work has changed so much from 2010 to now. I can imagine how much has changed from 1994 to now. I've heard stories. You always talk about 90s cop. That's one of your favorite phrases. 90s cop did this. 90s cop did that.
I did 80s cop today on a
Sam, you are not bigger than me. I promise you. She's toying with me. Yeah, hey girl. No, the 90s cop. I've heard stories about 90s cop from current cops. One of the stories that I've heard is things about back then there wasn't cell phones. There was payphones. So you definitely knew where the call came from when someone called 911. And I heard stories, rumors, legends from people that spoke to 90s cop about payphones in the area where I work and how there would be people that would call 911 from a payphone and then hang it up and then run
90s cops car
away.
By the way.
That's right.
Yeah.
They had Crown Vics back then too.
Don't shame the Caprice though.
Anyway, so people would call 911 from a payphone and then hang it up and then run away and then watch the cars come screaming in to this payphone and then drive around looking for the people that called, not find anything, and then drive away. And then as soon as the cops cleared the area, they would call 911 again. And this, it was like wash, rinse, and repeat. So I heard a rumor. This is not confirmed, and I don't know any names of any individuals in this story. But I heard a rumor that there was a 2-officer car in the area of one of these payphones in the 90s. And the 2-officer car drove around the area, and when they were in the alley, the officer in the passenger seat got out of the car, and he went and he got himself in a vantage point where he could observe the payphone. And he watched somebody walk over to the payphone, pick it up for a very short period of time, dial something, and then hang up the phone. And he got on his radio and he gave a description of that person. When the cars came into the area, they found that person. And he went to the hospital and had a turban on his head when he left the hospital. You know what I mean? Like, this is the kind of thing that happened in the 90s.
I heard some horrendous things about 90s cops.
Like the people that trained me told me, because everyone buys these like small flashlights now. That's the only flashlight I carry. They're like, you don't want that small flashlight. You need a mag light because a mag light can be used as an impact weapon. 90s cop used mag lights to, and I've heard this many times from 90s cops, that there's a very distinctive sound that a mag light makes when it bounces off of somebody's head. That's the kind of stuff that was happening in the 90s.
I have a mag light in my war bag, allegedly.
Yeah. I can tell you that today, if you hit someone in the head with a mag light, that's looked at as deadly use of force. And if it's captured on body camera or you report it or whatever, you better have a really good fucking reason for hitting someone in the head with your mag light. Where back in the day, jaywalking, mag light to the head. You know what I mean? Like, people, yeah. People say that there's been no reform in policing, that policing hasn't changed, whatever, and they always bring up the stuff that happened way back in the day. They're lying. It's not an honest debate at all.
Well, here's what's great about this. And here's one of my favorite memes, and we'll talk about it. 90s cop, the dude that was doing this shit. And I'm not going to judge him for it because it was acceptable at the time, right? Now it's not.
Hey, can I interrupt and say that I would like to see Sam wiggle around policy?
Hey, girl.
All right.
Anyway. Sorry, I apologize. I'm drunk. But 90s cop, the cop that was bonking people over the head with mag lights. You know what their position is right now? Chief!
Admin? Yeah, chief.
Admin. They're the ones telling you, oh, you shouldn't have cussed at that guy when he pointed a gun at you, or, oh, you should have done this differently. Piss off. You haven't been a real cop in 20 years, and you got fired for assaulting somebody, and then you got pulled over in a golf cart, and you abused your power. Fuck off.
It is full circle. There's a rumor, I'll tell you a rumor, about a former chief of my current department. He was known for, as chief of police, for coming down hard on officers, like, you know, trying to get them fired or trying to get them demoted or screwing them out of special assignments. He fucking came down on officers. And again, this is rumor, something I've heard that I have not substantiated and I can't prove. That when he was a precinct sergeant, they used to play this cat game where every officer had a particular color of spray paint in their car. Everybody knew what color each officer had. And if you managed to run over a cat and kill it, you would spray a circle around that cat with your color of spray paint.
That's and not funny. It is so funny.
And they had Polaroid cameras in the back of the car. You would take, for domestic violence cases, you would take a picture of your cat spray painted with your particular color of spray paint, and at the end of the night you would compare pictures and see who had the most pictures of dead cats with your verified color of spray paint. That guy made it to be chief of police.
Oh my god.
And imagine if an officer did that today.
Oh, done. So
yeah,
there was a police chief in a neighboring jurisdiction that hammered his dudes, and his son was a total piece of shit too. But this police chief, I'm drunk, so I don't want to give away too much. I don't want to say anything that may not be true, but rumors fly. But what I do know is they may have a no pursuit policy in their city, and they may have chased somebody in their personal car into another jurisdiction. And he's the chief, and he writes people up for the same shit he did, except he did it in a way worse circumstance. I really feel like policing will be the death of policing, but these really shitty administrators are really the ones. No, I'm not going to say they're totally responsible, but let's be honest. Shitty administrators are a big, big problem in law enforcement.
No, it is. And that, you know, I wonder if we can do a whole live stream on that. It'd be news story oriented. Do you think we can do that?
Sounds like next week we got a date.
All right, I got some research. Everybody that's watching right now,
I'll help this time.
Yeah, you can put, if you put out a feeler on Instagram, you might be able to get some hits.
Never mind. I'm like,
okay,
that's what she said.
All right, we'll talk offline.
Yeah.
An upcoming live stream is where we're going to talk about some horrible admin decisions and some stuff like that. I don't know that I have any. I mean, I have some examples that come to mind immediately. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Can I give a shout out to Junior? This is Junior. Junior.
Oh.
Yeah. Junior.
I think that is
behind
the sign.
Junior.
You know the term jumping the shark?
I know the term jumping your mom.
It's time. Before we completely jump the shark, because the shark has appeared on the screen. I think it's time.
Okay.
2 hours and 45 minutes in. It's plenty. We usually do 2 hours. We went a little bit long tonight.
That's what she said.
We had a pretty good room tonight. I love the topic. Hopefully everybody enjoyed.
Sorry about the nerding out on Star Wars.
That,
I'm a little passionate about that.
Yeah, I've been actually dying to debate him on Star Wars for a long time, and I couldn't do it on his podcast, so I did it on my own live stream. Yeah. Anyway, make sure you leave a comment on the video when it's out, so that it helps the algorithm and all that stuff.
Click like and
I really
subscribe.
do. Yeah, I don't like saying that because it's really corny.
Click like and subscribe.
He's drunker than me.
Oh, I'm wasted, buddy, at this point. Yeah.
We have a long weekend together. We're going to be together in a couple of days too. I just got my gift in the mail, by the way.
You haven't got it yet? Or you did?
I did. I got it. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Allegedly. Yeah, if you guys want to hear more, I'm going to give a cheap plug for me. Check out the Poorly Made Police podcast. They're not always with Ben, but he does appear quite often. And people like to thank him for his service frequently when he's not there.
Should I request that video that I sent you today where I was like, thank me for my service?
That was pretty good.
You know what it was? I'll tell you, because it's so late in the live stream that no other people are watching. And people on YouTube aren't going to watch this long anyway. So we had a shooting at the end of the shift the other day. And my precinct and the precinct next to me, I'm going to pour more whiskey for this. The precinct next to me is like really slow. It's like a suburb precinct where it's like really nice, where people have money and they don't commit crimes. Well, I pour my whiskey in a glass because I have class.
Oh, I'm a piece of shit. So let's go on.
All right. So there was a shooting at the end of the shift. The precinct next to me is a nice area, but they have a hospital. So they get occasionally like walk-in shootings. They had a walk-in shooting towards the end of the shift, like 45 minutes ago in the end of the shift. And the people told security that it happened on my precinct. This is like an age-old battle between that precinct and mine. Doesn't matter what shift you're on, first shift, second shift, third shift. They always have to go to the hospital. If the victim is there, they have to take the report. But the scene is always on my precinct. You know what I mean? It's just the crime is there, the hospital is there. Weird how the hospital is not in the high crime area.
Weird.
Who'd have thunk it? That precinct had cars that could have cleared, but they refused to clear. This is a police officer thing. It's the end of the shift. Nobody's going to clear and go on that shooting because you're going to be tied up. You're going to get stuck on overtime. So none of those guys were willing to clear. One car got sent to this shooting at the hospital, and the sergeant for that precinct got on the air and he's like, hey, is there anyone from a low priority run that can clear up? He saw my car and he's like, I see that Ben's car is on a low priority run. Can you clear up and help out with this? I said, yeah, no problem. I'll clear up. I haven't even made it to my run yet. So do you want me to go to the hospital or you want me to go check for a scene? He goes, well, since you're down there, why don't you go check for a scene? So as I'm driving up to the area where the scene was, this gets better. The dispatcher's like, hey, by the way, this suburb department was in the area in plainclothes and they witnessed the shooting and they didn't call it in for 20 minutes. So here's what happened. They were setting up on a house for gang and drug activity that's been brought into their jurisdiction. A bunch of shooting happened and it scared the shit out of them. And they fucking hightailed back to their jurisdiction and they didn't call us until they got there. So they called in and they're like, oh, by the way, it was this house. The numbers are 2389 whatever street. So I'm kind of circling the area, and I got on the air. I'm like, hey, if it's this particular house, we're going to need to make contact. You need to start me another car. I parked where I could see the house, and then people started kind of flooding out of the house. So I'm like, okay. I got on the air. I'm like, okay, there's a car en route to me. There's people coming out of the house. I'm going to go talk to them. I go up and talk to these people in the house, and they're like, hey, our house was not shot up. They're like, the day before yesterday, our house was shot up. Last night, our house was shot up. Today, our house was not shot up. He gave me a very detailed description. He's like, yeah, when they shot my house, it sounded like they were in my living room shooting at me. He's like, he goes, my fish tanks were exploding. My walls were exploding. He's like, they were not shooting at my house tonight.
I wish
I'm
I
like,
had my soundboard.
okay.
Right.
Yeah. and I looked at, there was a car out there with a bullet that you could tell it grazed the windshield. It like hit and skipped off the windshield. I was like, is that new or is that old? He's like, no, that one's from last night. I'm like, okay. So I got on the air and I was like, hey, I'm at 2389 whatever street. They're saying that the house was struck up twice over the last 2 days, but it was not struck today. All the damage is old damage. And the supervisor from the neighboring precinct where the hospital is, he goes, okay, can you have Ben, if he's not finding a scene and he's not finding a victim, can you have him clear up and head to the hospital? And I knew what was going to happen. They were trying to stick me with the fucking paper. And I wasn't, I was like, hey man, I wasn't fucking born yesterday. So I got on the air and I was like, hey, I haven't found a scene yet, but I'm going to check the area first. And then I'll see if and then I'll head up to the hospital. And it's so funny because the new body cameras, I watched that's weird.
I know. I'm trying to find a dinosaur. It didn't work out for me so well.
Yeah, that's good. I like that frog. I rewatched my body camera footage from me responding to that scene. And the Axon that we have also has GPS in it. So it shows you where you're walking. And I showed it to my buddy today. I was like, look everywhere I walked. Because I was trying to avoid going up to that other precinct to help out. I was helping because I was on the scene. But you can see me walking fucking everywhere. And so I walked up to the main road. I walked around this convenience store. It's actually like a large grocery store. And I talked to a handful of people. Nobody had heard the shooting. And then I thought about this other jurisdiction that had called in and the path of the vehicle that they called in. And I was like, well, this street's a one-way street, and this street, I was like, I bet you they were coming down this alley. So and like this, the sergeant was like, if he's not finding anything, have him come up here. And I got on the air. I was like, you know what? I'm still looking actually. If I don't find anything, I'll come up. And I walked down this alley and I found one shell casing. I looked down and I was so excited. I got on my radio and I was like, hey, I might have found the scene. There's a shell casing in this alley. And so a couple more cars came over and I only saw the one shell casing. So I looked around for a minute and I was like, I'm going to walk down the rest of the alley. Another car code pulled up and it was an FTO car. They got out and they ended up finding 3 more shell casings. The call that we got was four gunshots. And they found all 4. So I was able to get on the air again and I said, hey, I have definitely found the scene. I'm going to be putting up tape, and that was my way of guaranteeing that I wasn't going to go to the hospital and I wasn't going to take the paper for that other precinct. But then I walked by my buddies and
chestnut checkers.
What's that?
Chestnut checkers.
Yes. You learn some things after being on this job for a little while. You learn how to do the job, and the job is not just answering calls and fighting crime. There's a lot to the job.
It's punting calls to the other district.
I didn't punt anything. I found the scene and I secured it. Right?
Thanks for your service, buddy.
Yes. So I was walking by and I was like, looks like we found a scene, boys. I'm like, throw up some crime scene tape. In the coaching car, the FTO car, some people say, started getting the tape out and everything. And my buddy said something to me and you can't hear it on camera. But I turned back to him and go, yeah, you're welcome for my service. And then went and got my car. So I was proud of that moment, man. I was really, really proud of that. I don't know if it'll relay over to YouTube. I might request it. I might not. I've got a backlog of requests that I haven't even sent yet, and I really like the people in public records, and I feel bad every time I send a request right now because I want to say that their office is supposed to have 8 people and they have 3. They're slammed. So,
I'm supposed to have 8 and I have 3, so I know how that feels. Yeah.
I've had people contact me and say, I would like to be part of your team. I was like, yeah, my team is me, myself, and I. And I don't have time to even talk to people about a team.
We're not a team?
Oh, that was before.
We're a team, damn it!
This is a team.
Disappointed in you.
This is a team, but that was actually before I even started this channel. I had a guy tell me, he gave me this like long sob story about how he was a graphic designer, and due to the COVID, he was initially sent home from work and then he lost his job, and he was like, hey, I would really like to be part of your team. I think I could be a great asset. And I had to write him back and like, dude, I'm just like one guy and I don't make any money off of this. Like, I'm sorry that you don't have, but he was actually really cool, and he did some stuff for free. The graphic that comes up, do I know how to do this? I'll show you guys, and then we'll call it a night. See screen. Oh,
cool
I can't.
Story, bro.
Well, I was gonna, if I could share a video. He's the guy that made all my intros. So the one that says Columbus Police body camera and it kind of zooms in and does all that. He did all that stuff for free.
Well, let's thank him for his service.
Yes. His name is Dan. Dan, thank you for your service.
Dan, thanks for your service.
I don't think he watches this.
Let me
channel.
take a shot.
Yeah. What whiskey are you drinking now?
Stings the nostrils. My brother left some Kirkland's whiskey.
Oh.
And I made fun of him for Kirkland, and he left some for me, so I'm drinking it. Because I'm a good brother.
Is it delicious?
Nah, it's okay.
It's okay. Is it better than the pickled whiskey that you had before?
Anything is better than pickle whiskey. I bought some for the 1 year anniversary show because I thought I should start I thought I should be where I started, and that bottle's just never going anywhere.
Yeah. Sam actually asked a really good question. But if it happens in your beat and you don't take the paper,
then you should be beat.
Then you're a fucking asshole. You know what's funny is we have an FTO car right now. I can't say their district, but the way my city works, we have 5 zones. Each zone has 4 precincts on it. Each precinct has some cruiser districts. I have a cruiser district. Everything that happens on my cruiser district, I'm expected to take the paper. If it happens on your cruiser district and I show up to help you on a run, I'm not getting my notepad out of my pocket. Like you're taking it. You're taking care of this. Now, if you're already busy on a run and something of priority shows up on your district and I get dispatched on it, I'll take care of it. It's not a big deal. But if you're milking calls and I'm dispatched to your district, it's a big deal. Like this is like way inside baseball, police work type stuff. So my buddy
Are you guys big on supplemental reports?
I don't know what that means.
You guys don't write supplemental reports?
What do you mean?
Like, for example, you're covered on a call, but you find something out. Would you write a report, or you would just say, hey, I found this out, and expect the other guy to write it?
Yeah, I would tell him to put it in his report.
It's fucked up, man.
You know what's fucked up is that 99.999999% of our reports don't go anywhere.
Are you trashing documentation?
You know you're called to bullshit all the time. Anyway, this car is always on this one particular district, and since it's an FTO car, they usually jump runs, right? You know, if you're training somebody, especially on first shift, you never know how many calls you're going to get in a day. So if a run goes out that sounds interesting, you got to jump on that run. That's a good one. It's going to make me it's making me dizzy. You got to turn that off. There you go. The pig is better. So the training car is always jumping runs and they're always tied up, and I'm always taking runs on their district. And the dude that is the FTO, he and I are really good buddies, and he doesn't give a fuck. Like his skin is thicker than like buffalo hide, and I'm all like, I'll say it right in front of his recruit, his Probie, whatever. I'm like, yeah, so the other day I was busy on an arrest on your district that you refused to cover, but like in real life, yeah, you cover your fucking district. You better fucking cover your district. That's all I'm going to say about that. Cover your fucking district.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I know you're good with happened, like.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, but the hospital thing is a separate issue, because, you know, I understand that the guys that work on a precinct with a hospital, they get screwed with paper, but also the hospitals, generally speaking, are in nice areas, and you don't do shit anyway. So a fucking shooting walks in the hospital, go take your fucking paper. It's not a big deal. Like, you don't need me to come from an area that actually has crime to come out to the hospital and take your report for you. You can do it. You'll be fine. I promise. It won't hurt.
I will say, me and you have disagreed about some things today. I know you really like to support bad admin, such as Tim. But I do agree with taking care of your beat. I would get so angry, unnecessarily angry about people fucking milking calls, so I had to go to their damn beat. That was, if you went to a call on somebody else's beat, like, that was a big deal on my department. Like,
yeah,
what the fuck are you doing? Go take care of your beat, douchebag.
It, like, when I was on third shift, I drove the same car for 5 or 6 years. That was my car. If a call came in, I knew the people at the house. I was like, hey, I'll take care of that. And even if it was like a 2-officer run, but if I knew the people and I'd been there like a dozen times, I would say, hey, you can cancel both those cars. I'll take care of that. Now that I'm on first shift, I haven't had a district for too long. I'm still getting used to it, and it was funny because I had one. But that's another thing too. What about if it's on your district, but a FTO car shows up? What do you do?
Oh, it's fucking FTO's problem. No doubt.
I had one yesterday that I just told, I was like, hey, I got this, guys, and they didn't even offer. It was funny, but it's a lateral transfer coaching car, which lateral is a little different. It's our first class ever of laterals.
That's weird.
Yeah. Well, forever. I mean, we're the largest department in the state, so we had a policy where we didn't accept laterals. It is what it is. That's changed. So, and I don't know. I'll stop there. Anyhow, I think the whiskey is building up to a point, and we've gone on for long enough that we're going to start getting ourselves in trouble. I highlighted that. I almost
did several things
earlier.
That would get me in trouble. So,
yeah, and you don't even have the concerns that I have.
Samantha has the juice. That's all I'm going to say.
Has the juice?
It has the juice.
Has the juice.
You're not familiar with Corn Kid?
I've seen he's like, it's corn. I like corn. Yeah, I haven't watched it as many times as you have.
It's pretty good. It's very wholesome. It makes me not hate the world as much.
I should probably save it on my phone.
You should. That kid like puts me in a good mood because I'm like, all right, there's hope for the planet. The Corn Kid is my hope for the planet because he's such a nice kid and he loves corn.
I want to answer this question. 100% yes. I will 100% blame it on the mayor and his stance on the police department. I can tell you that my police department has seen a dramatic decrease in applicants, and all of the suburbs have had a increase in applicants. So there's the answer to that question.
Everybody wants to see it, man. Can we close with that?
Oh, yeah, I can do that. I mean, I showed it to you last week. That's what she said.
You beat me to it.
I beat you to it. That's what she said. All right. It's really close. That's what she said. All right.
Me.
I'm going to have I'm going to drink a lot this weekend. It's not good. I've got a podcast and I've got time with my buddies What day is it? It's the 8th on the 10th. All right. Here is the tackle. Any chance of I gotta go back. Wait. Okay, go past the intro. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna show you this.
My cord.
The intro is what Dan volunteered to do for free. He's a 3D imager. He did this with a photograph that I took of my body camera and sent it to him.
77 Sullivan Avenue. On a call from a man in Louisville.
Is that not the sexiest voice you've ever heard?
Sounds like a douchebag to me.
Temp tag listed on the run.
Okay,
Man, I
got
missed
that
half the
from
chat.
bin, from the previous run. So.
Is that your car, bud? No? Hold on. Stand there. Whose car is that?
I don't know.
You were sitting in the driver's seat.
Listen. I swear I was. Wait, I wouldn't sit in the driver's seat.
No.
I didn't do nothing wrong, man. I didn't do nothing wrong.
Stay down. Stay on the ground, man.
Okay.
I think that that officer was a little excessive, if I'm being honest.
I think if it was a white guy, he wouldn't have tackled him.
Nope.
Look at this right here. This elbow on concrete corner.
Ooh.
I'm just going to tell you hypothetically that would be incredibly painful, and it might take over a year to heal.
I didn't do nothing wrong.
Stay down. Stay on the ground, man.
Okay.
No.
Just relax.
I mean, it's not as glorious from this angle as I would
Stay
like.
down.
It's so good. Can I tell you guys about a missed tackle I had?
A missed tackle?
A missed tackle.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
All right, we should end with this because I think we were getting it an hour and 7 minutes ago, but we're still talking.
Mm-hmm. That's what she said.
Anyway. So this was, I think, like right around the time COVID started, and I was eating lunch with my partner, and one of the other cars aired out that we're with somebody, and it was kind of near where we were eating lunch. And I said, "How much you want to bet they're going to scream on the radio they need help?" Because they were screamers. And sure enough, 30 seconds later, they were screaming that somebody was running. So we go over there. Dude is like the other officers are maybe like a half block behind him kind of thing. And he stops and he's kind of surrounded by, there was kind of a mini encampment in that area. And I see him, and I was passenger in this 2-man car. Before the car got into park, I jumped out. And then I ran in front of the car, and you can see on my partner's body camera, I almost got hit by the patrol car because I was so excited to tackle this guy. I go running up. The dude has no idea I'm there until the last second. It was like a quarterback. He senses me at the last second, takes a step forward, which probably saved his life. And I only could get an arm on him and took him down. And instead of like full blore, I would have probably like destroyed this dude. It would have been glorious. But it was funny, right? Like reading the use of force report on it, because like, you know, one sergeant said I got an arm on him. One lieutenant said I missed. You know, the captain said I fucking jumped over him. And I'm like, I clearly did not jump over them. So.
That sucks.
Yeah. But I was very disappointed. I mean, at least we got him. At least I got an arm on him, but it would have been a good hit for sure.
Yeah. Like, I think the best tackle that I've ever seen, most people in the world have already watched it. I'm just going to say that. Because I don't talk about the specific department that I work for. Every other time that I've had like an awesome opportunity to tackle somebody, they've just given up.
Yeah.
Which sucks. But I want to show this video because I'm going to forget about it before next week, and I know it's going to trigger you. Oh, and I don't know what to pronounce your name, Eugenio. Even though you're in my Discord and everything, I see it all the time. I'm not going to change the intro because I'm not going to ask that guy to like recreate the 3D imagery. So it's old school. So you have no idea what this video is, right? And I'm sorry that it's small. That's what she said.
You can make it bigger.
How?
Make the screen bigger, douchebag.
Oh, but it's not that much bigger. See?
That's what she said. It's bigger now. It's big. Make it bigger.
All right. We'll go without our faces, and we're going to watch this, and we're going to go. Actually, I mean... Okay. Oh, it sounded... So, it's some kind of standoff. This guy right here. This female officer walking around behind him. This is about to be wild right now.
That worm.
He's still twitching. And so here's my thing, and I can't pause it. Oh, it does pause. Here's my thing too. There was 3 dudes standing in front of that guy, and then a woman had to walk behind him with a taser, and she's after him. It was effective. It was fantastic. Why didn't those guys just walk up to him? Put
Maybe
their hands
have a
on
knife
him?
or something.
Did it look like it?
I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm not gonna. You know how I feel about tasers, and you know how I feel about men cannot do the job, but I don't know enough to say.
That's right. Men can't be police officers because it took a woman to walk up and tase this guy. Look at her. Here she comes again. It's Instagram.
I mean, is that a woman?
Pull this up. Yes. I mean, I can't define what a woman is, but I think it's a woman.
It looks like the police chief in Tampa.
This is about to be wild right now. I had no idea. And there was a dude right next to him. I like how they're sitting there with like bean bag shotguns and stuff. Oh God, we would have beanbagged him. Fucking go put your hands on him. Don't be a bitch.
Men can't
I'm
be
gonna say
cops.
it.
Men can't be cops.
Yeah, men are fucking pussies. Look, this guy's right here. 2 officers here. They're hiding. Takes a woman. The fuck? I'm not gonna come. This is about to be. She just walks right up. This is the last time. He's like, "Fuck you guys, no knife."
You know, but you made a point which I think is excellent when I was arguing with you about this. Is at some point the taser is probably safer than just going and tackling them because you can get hurt tackling people.
How about you just walk up to him and grab him by the arms, place him under arrest?
Or you tase them because it's funny.
I mean, that was an epic tasing. That was fucking.
We don't know the background. Let's not be Monday morning quarterbacks like everybody on YouTube. But don't shoot your partner in the back when you're running away. That's the lesson.
So the lessons from this live stream, from the 46 people, that's roughly half of what we had earlier in the night. The lessons from this live stream are: if you have an armed suspect in a house that is hiding in a bathroom, you don't go in after him, right? If you do go in after him and it scares the shit out of you, you don't shoot over your shoulder as you're running away.
Correct.
You also don't say, "We need help, call 911," when you're the police. And what was the other lesson? What did we learn from this?
Well, apparently people don't like Star Wars.
Yes. If you have a live stream, you talk about Star Wars, you lose followers.
Mm-hmm.
And we've also, once again, the debate has been settled. The science is settled. Men cannot be cops.
Clearly cannot.
Cannot be cops because it took a woman to come and solve this problem.
I think only they should be cops.
Only women should be cops. You mean only theys?
Only they should be cops.
Only theys should be cops. Anybody with a gender should not be a cop.
Agreed. Theys only.
All right. On that note, we're leaving. Thank you for watching, guys.
Bye-bye.
It was fun. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Love some of you.